Hello. Welcome to another episode of No Stingy Energy, man. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? Let me know where y'all coming in from. What city, what state? Sound like Byron on the phone, man. He been having a whole meeting at 6:30 a.m. So, we'll get this started. My name is O'Neal Parker, real estate investor, entrepreneur out of Lafayette, Louisiana. Been investing in real estate since 2016. Full-time entrepreneur since 2020. Do all things real estate. And proud owner of Leverage to Wealth, teaching people how to leverage where they are currently in their life and their business to get wealth in real estate. And that's me. So today we got a show, entertainment purposes only. It's not really a political show, but I think it's gonna be a good time. We're gonna talk about things going on right now in the political space. But again, it's only entertainment only. But I'm excited about it. What's up, Byron? You back with us, man?
I'm back. I had a couple little, what I'm saying, oopsies pop up, but listen, we got a powerful conversation to have. I feel like it's an important conversation, but I'm gonna also say check your emotions at the door because it can get a little fiery.
We like the fiery though.
Yeah, we like it a little bit. It may be some toes stepped on a little bit. So put your toes, like get you some steel toe boots. That's what you do. Yeah. Get you some steel toe boots. And I think if you do that, you're gonna help yourself out a lot. And open your ears so you can hear because you may learn a different perspective.
Yeah. TM, man, you might have to join the conversation, man.
Huh?
With TM, you might have to join the conversation.
Oh, absolutely. We got to get TM in the building. We got chat in the building. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get chat up and introduce real quick. You know what I mean?
Good morning.
I was actually on stage with chat last night. We were discussing some pretty contentious topics. Huh?
He's on that old faithful Clubhouse, huh?
Yeah, man. What's happening?
Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning.
Well, how are you?
Oh, we blessed. We blessed. Good to see you.
I'm trying to hook up my laptop, my tablet, and what does it do? Update right when I get on.
That's how I do. It do good people like that. It do good people like that.
How are y'all doing this morning?
We blessed. Ready to have this conversation.
Are you though?
I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It could be ugly. I'm just saying.
What about you? You ready to talk about it?
I'm ready. I mean, we've been inundated with, Trump and Biden propaganda, I'll say.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great time to actually have a conversation about it. It's a pivotal time in our country. So great convo. When we talk about Trump, we get the Trumpers.
It's always a good time.
Yeah, so it ought to be fun. I'm excited.
I like it. So before we even get started, you might want to introduce yourself. So some people may know you, some people may not know you.
I'm Chat on Clubhouse. My name is actually Christy Chatham. I'm from Houston, born and raised, but I'm also an Army veteran. A lot of the work that I've done post-military has been in the nonprofit space as an executive director of nonprofits and as a program director for veterans organizations across the country here in Houston. And I also worked during the Trump and Obama administration in the executive branch, right, of the government. So I lived in DC for a few years. I was in ethics, right? And so after that taste of government, I left the government sector altogether. I worked in nonprofit and helped veterans, helped Black entrepreneurs get funding, all the great things. But I told myself that I would not do anything government related once I left DC.
I got a question for you. Mm-hmm. Who campaign did you enjoy more? Was the Obamas or Trump?
Oh, Obama. I mean, he's fine. So.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's that.
So you would be a Mrs. Obama? That's what you're saying?
Ooh.
I mean, they wouldn't let me work on her transition team. I'm working his transition team. So I'm still a little upset about that. But no, I'm not a home wrecker. I just admire him from a distance. So I'm not a home wrecker.
Dig it.
But it was cool.
So what exactly did you do on the team? If you don't mind me asking. If you can,
Yeah,
if you can say it.
I mean a little bit. So I did compliance for financial disclosures and ethics audits. So if a presidential appointee or a presidential nominee was given to the to us, right? If President Trump or President Obama nominated someone to fill a seat, we would go through their finances, self reported. We would go through their finances and look for conflicts of interest. So say they were in the work for Department of State and they were ambassador in the Gulf somewhere, right? In the Persian Gulf somewhere. Anything oil related, they would have to divest. So we would write a letter of divestiture and ask them to divest of that holding in order to be nominated and confirmed for a presidential appointed position. So I did that, and I also did audits for your federal agencies. I audited their ethics programs. So making sure that they comply with ethics law. For some of those positions, it's conflicts of interest. But all together, just making sure that agencies attack their ethics law ethically, right? And yeah, it was exciting. We were a small agency, and
Sound like they did a
actually
lot of
during
work though.
Trump, all eyes were on us, especially with financials, with Trump's financials. So it was a whirlwind.
That's what's up. I like that. But you sound like your job was very important.
Yeah.
Sound like you had some stress. That's a lot right there. That's a lot.
It was cool. It was exciting. Like that's something that I've always wanted to do. I plan on running for office here in Houston at some point.
Oh,
local? You talking about the local government?
Let's talk about it.
I want to do local. Yeah, I plan on
What
running
you
for
gonna
office
run
out
for?
here.
So what you gonna do? Like city councilman, or you gonna do like the
I want
governor
to do
thing?
state.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you plan on doing?
So I want to like run for state senate or state rep and bring more light to some of the issues that kind of have been stagnant, because a lot of those people that we elect in the state office, people don't really pay attention to them. So they're passing laws that don't benefit us. They're passing laws that a lot of Texans aren't even aware of, right? Because they don't pay attention to state politics, right? People pay attention to federal politics first, right? National politics, not so much local, but they really do not. They are not engaged in state politics. And so my thing is to bring to light issues and legislation that will help Texans as a whole.
So when you gonna run, next year or this year? Is it next year?
And,
local vote is what, every 2 years?
2 years, yeah. I'm actually doing fact finding in the fact finding process right now. So we're looking at positions, platform, all those good things.
Hey,
dig it.
No Stingy Energy gonna donate some money to your campaign.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
You know, donate and maybe find a friend. You know,
that's it.
There you go.
Yes, indeed.
Donations are meant for that.
Yeah, they build good friendships. Exactly. We got Jonathan Bing in the building. Listen.
What's going on, man?
What's happening, JB?
You're on mute, man.
You're on mute. I think you're on mute.
Right. Sorry about that. You tell me. How's it going?
Man, man.
Good to see you. Good to see you, man. We would love to get a quick introduction, if you don't mind, for the people who may not know. The few who may not know. You know what I'm saying? Give them a quick introduction, if you don't mind.
Hey guys, I'm Jonathan Bing, president of Nation Bank Mortgage, also co-CEO of Cinch Business Academy. So been doing mortgages for 20 plus years, and just happy to be here. Been speaking politics with you guys for the past 3 years or so. So, just happy and excited to be here and contribute where I can, because this is great. I did be able to speak about the presidential election, I think so much is at stake this time. So I'm happy to be here.
Yes,
What's your thoughts about that? What's your thoughts about it right now?
What talk about in which way?
Which way you think it's going right now?
You know, I'm going to tell you this right here. A lot of people are saying Trump, and that's because, you know, the person that makes the most noise, people tend to believe is actually having the best result. But I think America just isn't ready to have another Donald Trump presidency. I think the presidency that he's going to put forth will be, I think, damaging. It would damage our democracy to the point that we will have to do a lot of repairing to actually just get back to the Mendoza line, to get back to normal. So I truly feel that way, not just saying that that's how I feel, what's going on here, what's happening here. So I think Trump is a danger. He's a clear present danger and threat to our country, to our nation. What?
What you thought about that, Byron? What you laughing for, man?
No, I'm laughing at you laughing. Oh, I'm laughing at you laughing.
I'm just enjoying the conversation so far, man.
Yeah. So tell me this, JB. Because a lot of people would argue that, you know, they did fairly well under the Trump administration in terms of fiscal policy, and in terms of economic overall well-being. People felt like they did better under Trump. What's your thoughts about people who believe that?
Well, people, look at this right here. A lot of people, okay, you look at it on the surface, you can say, okay, that's what happened. But the first year, 18 months or so of someone's presidency, it's not it's their presidency.
Damages from the last president.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot left over from the previous administration. So and our country and our economy is like a big ship. You just don't turn it on a dime. Okay, you have to actually when you're dealing with it, you actually have to look at it as it's going to take a while to turn it around. And so if you want to accurately look at Trump's presidency, you probably want to look at the last, 3 years of that presidency to see what effect he had. And it's tough because those last couple of years, like the last year or so, COVID kicked in, and there was a lot of policies that was enacted. And Trump, there's a lot of policies that was enacted that had an effect on us now. And there's a lot of policies that was enacted that allowed a lot of people to make money. People were stuck at home. So that you're talking about a COVID economy. I think that Donald Trump did not handle that very well. And that was his first real test, where what he did mattered. And he did a lot of things and said a lot of things that just didn't matter. But I just wasn't ready for it. We're not ready for it again. I mean, even right now with him campaigning, some of the rhetoric that's coming out of his mouth, poisoning the blood, using language like that, that's Hitler's language. He used that in a speech, last week, and now then he claimed like, oh, I didn't know Hitler used it. Yeah, but why? If you didn't know that Hitler used poisoning the blood when you're talking about immigrants, what he's talking about Jews, it's a lot of rhetoric that, is very divisive. So I think when you guys look at it, Donald Trump policies will probably benefit me, quote unquote, the most, but it's what he's going to do. When you look at his reaction to everything else and what he's going to do when it comes to, let's say, just the handling of the presidency, he pretty much wants it to be a dictatorship. I mean, last presidency, he had, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner there. He had his daughter in the White House. That was unusual. You don't do that, okay? But he did it anyway. And he did that knowing that he still had to face re-election. And I think this time around, there's no re-election. He pretty much is going to turn this into a dictatorship. I just think that our country's not ready for it. And last but not least, let's use that bloodbath language. People are like, oh, he's talking about the automobile industry. He wasn't. He said his country as a whole is what he said. Okay. Was he referencing the automobile industry at the time? Yes, he was referencing it. But when he spoke about the bloodbath, and he said there's going to be a bloodbath. pretty much people are going to uprise. Guys, listen, I don't want us afraid not to elect someone because what the other half of the country is going to do. When we get to that point, then we're just as good as those banana republics. That's just me. I can talk about this all day. But go ahead.
So Chad, what's your thoughts about this, right? What Jonathan talking about? What's your thoughts?
I mean, let's invite some people from Twitter Spaces so they can.
Hey, y'all invite them, man. Pull up.
Yeah, I mean the bloodbath comment, that was a bit much, right? Like, referring, and he was actually referring to, and I listened to the clip again today, and he was reporting to, talking about the election, right? Like, people think that he was saying that if he does not get elected, he will, there'll be a bloodbath, and that was a dog whistle. And I don't know, I don't know if the American people can really handle another January 6th. I don't know if internationally, if we can handle another January 6th, right? In our national security, right? How the globe views us, how Americans are even getting along with each other. I'm not sure if we can handle another January 6th. I think, though, the one thing, though, working for his administration that I loved, right? Crazy. But one thing was, he was not a part of the Beltway, right? Like the system, the political system. And so we saw that in a lot of the people that he appointed to office. You see that in how he does business. Trump does business. The stock market did very well under him. You hear a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs say that they benefited, including you, JB, benefited from a Trump presidency. And so, like, economically, and especially for the entrepreneur, but economically, Trump was given an amazing economy, right, from Obama. However, COVID hit. And he had, even though, like, if y'all think about it, what could have happened in another country, right? COVID could have literally destroyed us, right? But the fact that we didn't have all-out war, right? People fighting and clamoring to get injections, right? To get vaccines, and that the economy, especially here in Texas, we fared very well because we really didn't close during COVID, right? Us and Florida. So yeah, the economy was better under Trump for a lot of people. Actually, for most Americans, it was.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, I agree with that. What's your thoughts about that, B?
I think it's a complex conversation in a sense where I know, me personally, I felt like I did financially better under Trump. I feel like it was something in the,
you think it was
in
the timing,
atmosphere.
or is just because what was going on?
It was more so, I think it was just a friendly culture for entrepreneurs. I felt like it just seems like it was just a friendly environment for business people. Now, whether that was just a feeling, right? Whether it was based in real fiscal data, that's another thing. But I do believe that when you have somebody who you believe from a business owner's perspective is, not going to implement things to try and ruin you from a business perspective, it does, I would say, foster in more confidence in the market, and you'll get that sense to where you feel like you could take bigger risk, or you may be open to doing bigger things in order to kind of further your business when you feel like the government is not coming against you from a business perspective. That just my thoughts.
Let me ask you that. They put it in the chat. I was gonna bring it up. Y'all think it was a better time for entrepreneurs because all the money that was just getting pumped out? You got to think about it. A lot of money was given away.
That's
a
true.
lot of people were just blowing the money, which would make entrepreneurs make more money. A lot of entrepreneurs ain't around no more, man. We got to keep it real. So yeah,
You're not talking about the PPP loans, are you? My God.
man, I'm talking about the PPPs, the stimulus,
The
goddamn
stimulus.
unemployment. People's getting 800, 1,200 a week. They ain't never made that in their life. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of factors to look at too.
Yeah, there are a lot of people, like I said, a lot of entrepreneurs that fared well, right? People were spending money. Now, a lot of people were spending money they didn't have. Okay. But I built my house at the beginning of COVID. Got a great interest rate. Y'all know interest rates were at all-time lows. Right before COVID, even partially during COVID. Built my house in North Houston. That's all I say. But built it, had a great interest rate. When COVID hit, I was a little concerned because they were talking about shipping issues and logistics, right? For supplies and all that. And so I was a bit concerned, but ultimately got a great price on my house, right? I have a lot of equity, have a low interest rate. Like, I don't know if it was timing per se, but I do believe that economically, our GDP was at its lowest during that time. Also, the stock market again fared very well. So I think like economically, but also more kitchen table issues, right? Like the things that people are actually voting on, that people are actually concerned about. I think a lot of it is money. And just with Trump, there was just, money being pumped into the economy, right? So I'll leave it there.
A whole lot of money.
When you guys, that Trump had very little to do with that. Once again, that was the Obama economy. So in terms of interest rates, interest rates were low, much lower than, and we were, interest rates work on bad news. That's how interest rates work. If you're in we were in a war. We started off with 9/11, interest rates started to go down. Then you had the Afghanistan war, interest rates went down. Then you had the Iraqi war, interest rates stayed low because bad news equals good news when you in the mortgage industry, believe it or not. So and then we had COVID hit. All right, so because it's opposite the stock market, we still have these problems right now. And in fact, Trump did us a disservice because he forced interest rates to stay artificially low for much longer than they should have had to. Okay. When Biden came into office, he was the adult in the room. He actually had to raise these interest rates. And when you think about it, it had to happen because inflation was out of control. Now, what do? We sacrifice low interest rates, and then we have unaffordable housing and unaffordable everything else. They put a lot of money out there. That happened under the Trump administration. They put a lot of money out there. The Obama administration, they did it at first during the economic collapse. We had that collapse when Obama came into office, and then Trump printed a lot more money, and Biden printed a lot of money during COVID. So when you have that much cash out there, people spend it, and people compete, and people aren't afraid to spend more money. And so, inflation went haywire because we had a supply issue as well as an overabundance of cash. And the housing was just going up, 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 up. I mean, so you buy a house today, especially in the coastal areas, next thing you know, a week later, you have, a year later, you got like $100,000 in equity. I mean, it was just going up. So it had to, Trump had to have been removed from office because if he wasn't, Trump had to have left office because if he hadn't, housing would be really unaffordable. So Joe Biden raising the interest rates, it's not what we want, but it's a pill. It's a bitter pill that we had to swallow in order for us to actually get to where we are now. So 100%. I see you have some other guests here.
Hey, Nelson, you made more money with Trump or with Biden? Let's talk about it.
100% with Trump. I mean, come on. Every American made more with Trump. Come on. These Democrats, bro. I'm in an airport. I'm probably surrounded by a lot of Democrats. I'm in D.C. I just don't want to say too much, but you know what I'm about to say. right? So listen, Donald Trump will be the next president. Jonathan Banger's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. Chad, I'm not sure if you're a goddamn Democrat, but it's not a goddamn thing you can do about it either. Okay? And that's it. Guys, I gotta jump on this fight, but I love you. Don't listen to Jonathan. Terrible. Do not.
Well,
Yo.
that's funny.
Listen, no, like I love you. Here's the thing, guys. Let me just say this right here. Just I mean, the economy, you know, that's debatable. Once again, the Trump economy, I'm not gonna take anything from it, was a pretty good economy, but the Biden economy right now, our stock markets are hitting highs. Our S&Ps, you know, are hitting all-time highs. So this is happening right now as we speak. So I understand that people love to romanticize what's going on with Biden. I mean, with Trump. But this Biden economy right now, when you look at what's going on in England and the UK, they're in a recession. Right? China hitting stagflation. China was supposed to pass us, you know, and their economy like is in the tanks. I mean, when you look at it right now, last year they captured 38,000 Chinese citizens crossing over at the south border from Mexico. Okay, 38,000. And they're trying to get away from China because, you know, America, our economy is just booming, and so they're coming here for work. So when you think about that, I just want you guys to think about that and consider that 38,000. That's not something that you can just sneeze at, you know, in terms of what's going on here. 38,000 Chinese. So because China's economy is in the toilet, they were like, oh, China's going to pass us. China's not going to pass us anytime soon. Okay. So when you think about that and you look at everything that we have going on, there's no way that I would be voting for Trump because, you know, this guy's second term is going to be about retribution. He's looking for paybacks, and this guy's running from charges. Come on, guys.
Wait a minute. So, Ben, you plan to vote for Biden? Like you're gonna you're gonna hit the level for Biden?
100%.
You think Biden got 4 years of presidential
left?
No. Pop is on his last leg. Somebody get Pop off of the podium because Pop is going down last leg. Somebody get Pop. He can barely stand up. Pop is barely stand up. Somebody get Pop.
Somebody got feedback. Let me see.
I think it was Doug. Probably.
I want to know your thoughts, man. I want to know Chad. You know, Jonathan, Don. It seems like,
to me. Guys, I'm gonna tell you this right here. I'm gonna tell you this right here. I'd rather have a guy that's on his last leg. Matter of fact, I would vote for Joe Biden in a coffin before I vote for Donald Trump. See, I think we can't get caught up in this as African, especially African Americans. We can't get caught up in this because guess what's going on here? Joe Biden, you know, he's going to keep the status quo. He's going to hand our democracy off to the next Republican or the next Democrat that wins. Okay, so that's what he's going to do. Donald Trump is his goal when he gets in, and then tell me if you guys agree or disagree, is to make the presidency as much of a monarchy as possible, as much of a dictatorship as possible. That's what he wants. He pretty much has said that. You know, he actually got pretty much. He has
dictatorship, Jay.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
So did you feel like it was a dictatorship when he was in office?
No, I did not. I felt like he broke a lot of laws. I broke a lot of rules. Let's look at this right here.
You said second go round gonna be a dictator.
Okay, what?
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Let's start here. Okay, he had 91 charges. It's down. It's now 85. Okay, because 5 got tossed. Okay.
It seemed now. Let me say this. It seemed like Trump kind of like the interest rate. The more bad news he gets, the popular he gets.
Yeah, and that that's what he's selling you guys. That's what he's selling you.
The more bad news he gets, the popular he gets.
No, that's what he's selling. That's what Trump is selling you. Okay, guys. Yeah. Look at this right here.
more bad news he gets popular. We getting feedback.
Who has that
I
feedback?
think we get some feedback.
Might be from Los.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
So
think you got to
no,
turn off the YouTube in the background, whoever it is.
Don. So no, guys, listen to me. Donald Trump, believe it or not, is a when you look at what he's doing and what he's going to do, he already said he's going to seek retribution for those that have come after him. All right. So is that okay with you guys for the leader of our country to use time to go after people that went after him? That's first and foremost.
You mean to speak honestly?
Yeah, that.
Yeah, crazy boy.
I want to know. Hey, tell me
we
this
gotta
though,
talk
Los.
to Don, man. We got Don and Los. Maybe y'all can
Yeah.
introduce yourselves real quick, man.
Yeah.
Want to hear your thoughts, fellas? Go, Mr. Don first.
Hey, listen, Don Daniel, founder of Pill Method International. I will admit that during those COVID years, our business really took off, and we did well. But again, it was artificial. There was a lot of COVID money out there. People were afraid of not working. They were afraid of even if they were working, they were afraid of not being able to pay their bills. And so, my business was front and center for a lot of people. So, so that part. But as far as someone who is expert in walking up to a line, and what my mother would say is throw a rock and hide your hand, walking right up to a line with certain rhetoric, and people pick up on that rhetoric, and then they feel as if you're encouraging them to do a lot of things. A lot of people who are around Donald Trump are in jail for the things that they did. But Donald Trump seems to, he's Teflon. Nothing sticks to the guy. But everybody around him goes to jail. So there's something wrong with that. When you are expert at using dog whistles and incite, when you get people who feel disadvantaged, they're poor, or they feel as if they're losing their grip on those things that they feel that they are entitled to. And then you play on those fears and say, listen, if things keep going the way that they're going, if the decisions that are being made are more black and brown, you're going to lose your grip on whatever it is that you think belongs to you. And he's playing on those fears. And so people are now saying, listen, Donald Trump is the savior. He's going to make sure that white America is going to be able to survive. So there is, listen, nobody's talking about the northern border. How many people are in this country illegally who are white or coming in from the northern border? We're not talking about that. We're talking about people coming in from the southern border. We're talking about people coming in that are more black and brown, and then and if they get naturalized, they'll be able to vote. And so people who are thinking that this country is theirs are feeling as if they're losing it. And anybody who's talking about nationalism, you go back in history, folks, we have to read history. You're destined to repeat it. He is talking the same type of rhetoric that dictators were talking about. And when you talk about who he respects, who he talks about, who he admires, he admires strong men. He wants to be one. And if he's allowed to become president, he will try to stay president for life. That's going to be his goal. That's my feeling.
I want to know. So real quick, Los, we got Los in the building. We just having a candid conversation, and I appreciate everybody's perspective. But tell me this though, Los. Honestly speaking, you feel like you made more money under Trump or with Biden?
Probably Trump. I mean, for me, I understand some real shit. It don't matter who in office. I'm gonna run it up because I know what to do. So that don't even matter to me. I don't care who in office, honestly. For some odd reason, I guess people don't know how to get money when Democrats in office. I guess, or I don't know. For me, I just don't understand what the problem is. If you do what you do, why do it matter who in office? If people like your product, why do it matter who in office? If people like your service, why do it matter who in office? So I just think that people using, who in office as a scapegoat for their inferior business and their inferior products and services and shit. Because if your product and services is proper, then somebody gonna come and patronize you. I don't give a fuck what's going on. People, we seen in the height of the pandemic, when people allegedly ain't have money, people still spent money on what they spent money on. When the money was flowing, when they gave the money out, people spent money on what they spent money on. If they ain't spend money with you, it's probably your fault. It's probably because your product or service was inferior. It ain't had nothing to do with who was in office, from my perspective.
Ooh. So what's your take on this whole? What's your take on this whole presidential thing? When it comes to Trump, when it comes to Biden, you see yourself voting for Biden. What's your take on it?
Not never. I would never, ever, ever vote Democrat, ever, because the Constitution never, ever, ever says Democrat or democracy in the Constitution, in the founding document that y'all crying and love this country so much. Then why you not hailing on the documents that was founded on? The word Democrat or democracy is nowhere in it. So for some odd reason, y'all want to get away from what the history of the country was founded on, and it was being a republic. And maybe y'all don't know what that means. And I ain't about to do a constitutional conversation with y'all last day. Y'all last grown. Y'all should be able to know and understand for y'allself. But I'm a Republican. I'm a dire Republican. I was born in the United States Republic. And anybody that's voting Democrat, I don't even know where y'all got that shit from. I mean, y'all need to do a history lesson.
Ooh.
Oh, shit. J-Bay, what's your thoughts, man?
My thoughts is I appreciate what Los just said, but somebody back. But the Whig Party, all right, we had a Whig Party, and there's no Whig. We have presidents that was from the Whig Party, and the Democrat and Republican Party are more recent. We had Democrat, Republican Party, we had different parties, but so that's just the brand that we have here.
Bro, this like the courtroom, right? And in the courtroom, the DA is the prosecutor on this courtroom, and then go in the next prosecutor and the next room, then they representing somebody. They play both sides. Ain't no such thing. It's all one party. The Democrats and Republicans, man, they fucking golfing, they chilling, they kicking it, they doing all the same shit. They fucking sending their kids to the same schools, they talking, they chilling, and then they get on camera and talk this stuff and play emotions between people who don't understand emotions. That's why they get up there and talk about race. Every time the Democrats go up there, they talk race, because they know all y'all and y'all feelings about race. All Donald Trump a bigot, always this, because it's all about emotions for y'all. And man, y'all need to check y'all emotions. But it's all the same party. Same thing like the banks. They all kick it. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, US Bank, they all kick it together. It's all the same. So for some odd reason, people must just don't understand how government works. That's why I say, man, y'all just need to go back, do some history lessons, maybe take some classes at a local college or some shit, because y'all just forgot or maybe just don't know how this shit really works.
Yeah.
Chat, what's your thoughts? Chat, let's go to chat real quick.
So I'm a veteran, right? So and so I tend to vote Republican, right? Like I'm out here in Montgomery County, Byron. So you know how it is.
Yeah.
But I will say this, something that I learned from actually working in DC, right? Los is right. They're the same, right? Both have part issues with ethics. Both have issues with campaign contributions, right? Both have swindled the American people out of things, right? Like it's like here in Houston, you know, Sheila Jackson Lee won her race, right? I just knew we were going to get you know, Amanda in. However, are we asking those that we vote in office because they look like us? Are we asking them to advocate for us? And then on the other side of that, are we holding them to that fire? I think the problem with the Democrats is they're voting for people because they look like them, but they aren't circling back to see if they're actually doing what they say they're going to do. And we've had years and years of the same people in office, right, that aren't doing anything, and we just keep voting for them because of name recognition, right? Like, I'm an educated voter. I don't vote down ticket. I don't. I actually go to the League of Women Voters and look at the platforms for each candidate, and I vote. I'm an informed voter, right? And I think, like, when we start voting a party, I think that's what we see with the MAGA, you know, people, or with the never Trumpers, right? We're seeing people that are more loyal to party, right, than purpose. We're seeing people that are more loyal to their money, right, than our mission. And I think it's a problem with that. I think we have gotten so big business is controlling this country. We aren't controlling this country anymore. And the more they keep us divided by talking about I'm a Democrat, by identity politics, right? The more that they keep us divided is the more you know, we'll continue to fight each other for nothing. We have to come together, right, as American people. And as a veteran, I can say that when I've gone across, you know, was deployed or been in other areas across the country, we're still deemed in high regard. So Americans need to have a better viewpoint of Americans than we do now.
Yeah, you said a lot of good things.
Yeah, JB, what you think about that? I mean, you know,
we got to get Darby in too.
Get
Darby in there too.
Once again, I am I physically conservative, but socially liberal. And with that being said, I did vote Trump the first time around, but I would never vote him again.
You real big on that gay marriage thing, or you just kind of like?
Not big. I support people's right to do whatever they want to do. Okay, so I'm not. So it's not my. You know, it's not my place to tell someone who to love, who not to love. But with this, yes, as I listen here, what people don't realize, because I look at the history. I'm huge on history. When you look at the Democrats and the Republican Party, you know, you go back to the 50s, they're actually switched around. Okay, and so the Democrats were the quote unquote Republicans. And that's why when you look at Byrd and all those people, Storm Thurmond, all those people, they were all Democrats. All right. So, and, you know, then you look at the Republicans were, quote, their platform was what the Democrats' platform is today. But it switched up somewhere around the 50s, 60s. Okay. That's why when you look at, when we talk about Joe Biden, and we talk about him speaking at Byrd's funeral and Storm Thurmond and all that other stuff, they were all Southern Democrats. So if we wanted, when we start talking historical, let's just keep that in mind, that the people that, when we start speaking historical, the people that we're speaking about historically, when we talk about the Democrat Party and the Republican Party, it was the Republican Party, you know, that freed the slaves, that did all that other stuff. So essentially, when we put it in the historical context, the Democrats are the Republicans of old. Okay, so I think those are, once again, those are branded titles or whatever that we have there. I just think that the person that they have running right now, it's not even about Republican Democrat. Like I said, I voted for Trump. I believed the rhetoric the first time. Okay, Mexico didn't build a wall. Okay, and half the stuff that he promised to get done never got done. And now he's back telling everyone what they want to hear again to get reelected. I just believe that Donald Trump had his opportunity. If he should he ever get back in power, okay, with the agenda that he has, I think it would be just hell. He would have there's no guardrails this time. There's no other election that's coming down the pipe. He's going to do what he want, how he want, and he's not going to care because there's no consequences. All right. And, he wants to reform the DOJ. Why do you want to reform the DOJ? Because guess what? You were indicted twice by the DOJ. But guys, he's the only president in history that was ever indicted of a criminal charge. Not only that, he's the only president. He got indicted of four indictments, 91 charges originally, dropped down to 85. Okay. And he was found liable of rape, and he's found liable of fraud in his business. So all those things just don't happen. Like they have Megan's Law. Okay, they have sex offenders have to report for a reason because guess what? They're most likely going to reoffend. That's why that's what people just don't change. You don't get that kind of work. Okay, you don't get those kind of charges and indictments. I don't care who you are, just because people don't like you. Okay, you had to have done something, especially if you're the most powerful person in the world. If that was the case, all of our previous presidents would have succumbed to those same kind of charges.
Man, Darby, what's your thoughts? A lot of things right there too.
Man, it's a lot. It's a lot, right? Man, I really don't identify as a Democratic or Republican. I guess you would say I'm independent. Reason
Your audio kind of low.
Is it low? Okay, hold
It's
on.
a little low.
Let me take my Bluetooth off.
You're on mute.
There, hold on. All right, can you hear me okay now?
Yeah. You way better now.
All right. So, I'll just start over. I don't identify as a Republican or a Democrat, because neither one of them really represents us as a people. And to Byron's initial question, it's kind of it's baiting, Byron. I give you that, it's baiting, because a lot of people say, oh, I made a lot more money with Trump. Well, everybody made money because the money was out there to get. It was free to grab. And if y'all don't recall, during the whole 9/11 situation, during the Bush era, stimulus checks was given out as well. So a lot of people had got free money when it was up for grabs then as well, as opposed to now. And the thing is, and I said this last week, there's millionaires made through every election or every presidency. It's just how you go about making your millions. To Los's point, if you got a good product or service, you know how to make money. It don't matter who's in office, and everybody who votes Republican, quote unquote, is looking at it from a monetary perspective. I look at it as both monetary and living as a black person in the society. I'll be honest with you. When Trump was in office, this country was not safe for black and brown people. It was not. They would, these white dudes walking around with the tiki torches, and police were more elevated. Like, the laws and policies were not in our favor. Now during the Biden administration, I don't understand why he still hasn't passed the George Floyd bill that will protect black and brown Americans, but they went ahead and passed the Asian hate bill, the Asian hate crime bill, within a matter of seconds. And that don't fly with me. So there's things where both presidents who are running at this point in time, they're not looking in our favor as, I would say, just black and brown Americans. Now, from a monetary perspective, and as far as Trump got all these charges and stuff like that, like, he really ain't for this country as a people. He just for it as a bravado, like fill up his machismo. Another thing he got checked off the list. And the reason why black people voted for Trump, to be honest, is because, yes, they made more money, and then let's be honest, Trump was in a lot of rap video songs or rap lyrics and stuff like that because he was the ideal billionaire at the time. And Joe Biden, as far as the 94 crime bill or something like that, where he was trying to jail black and brown people for marijuana charges. Like, we don't have nobody who's really for us in this election. So for the greater good, I'm going to vote for whoever is going to make this country more peaceful, because we're about to go to war with North Korea. Like, it was a whole lot of animosity during that time. Now we're in a state to where it's like, okay, a lot of stupid stuff is happening up under Sleepy Joe. It's a lot of stupid stuff, and we just looking here and scratching our heads like, dog, we just need you to wake up and get it right. We just need you to wake up and get it right. That's it. So that's just where I stand right there, and I ain't gonna go on a long rant, and we can continue the conversation.
You got to get a Nazi in here, man.
Yeah, man.
But
I definitely got to get Los's take on that too, because I've heard that the unsafeness, and all that kind of stuff. I want to get Los's take on that after Najee for sure.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I'm coming on late. My apologies. First of all, let's just back up, and I would challenge anybody, and I'm sure some people had their points, but I would challenge anybody that actually said Trump was good for the economy. Right? What facts are you guys using? Right? Let's just start with the facts versus the rhetoric. I understand people like to say things, but then there's facts to those things. Right? So fact of the matter is Trump is the only president in history that left with a negative jobs number, meaning he actually didn't grow jobs for this economy. That's a fact. Right? Unemployment had peaked up to 20% under his presidency. That is a fact. Never in history. Healthcare costs went up for all Americans under Trump, right? Because he's trying to repeal Affordable Care Act, right? This dude had the worst trade policies in the world, right? No trade, yeah. So trade policies and tariffs is a tax. Tariffs is a tax on the American worker. Tariffs is a tax on the American consumer. He raised our tariffs with China, our number one trade partner. Now, yeah, he spent the whole year, 2 years, railing about why trading with China is bad. He's going to tax China. All you do when you put a tariff on another country that you import goods from, all you do is tax your own consumer. That's a fact, right? Like we can keep going on. And when you talk about tariffs, you're like, what does that affect? If you live in the Midwest, you might grow a lot of soybeans. That's one of our top exports. Because we tax China, they taxed our soybean farms. That's a fact. U.S. Steel suffered, right, under Trump. Let's talk about immigration. Most people think that Trump's policies on immigration are good. He's talking about his rhetoric right now with immigration. When you reduce immigration from a country that has a negative birth rate, okay, that hurts your economy. America has a negative birth rate. That means we're not making enough people through, reproduction. Right?
Hold on, wait a minute. You blaming the birth rate on Trump?
No, I'm not blaming the birth rate on Trump, but I'm blaming the amount of workers and labor force that we have in this country for businesses to survive. Right? Businesses need labor. And if they don't have labor, then they have a labor shortage, which means they actually have to raise wages, which raises inflation. That's a fact that happened under Trump. That level of inflation. Ask any farmer in the U.S. How are they faring under Trump? They didn't do so well because they lost their labor force. Now we can talk about, immigrants take jobs away from Americans. In Alabama, they got rid of all immigration in their farming, and they overall lost production because Americans didn't want those jobs. Right? We have a negative opinion about immigration, but these people do a lot of positive to our economy, regardless of labor. They come over here, they spend goods and services, they live in houses, they buy a house, they buy goods and services. So whenever you reduce people, which is what he has did, from any economy, people is a number one source of economic growth, period. Migration patterns, where they go, where they live. If you have a lot of people in an area, you're going to have a better economy. How do we know this? Compare Montana with New York City, right? There's not a red state that actually does well economically outside of Texas and Florida, and those states actually do well under blue cities. Can anybody on this chat, on this live, name one red city that's in the top 15 of GDP? I'll wait, because you can't.
So wait a minute. I heard a lot.
Yeah, I'm coming in hot and fire. I'm firing.
Yeah, you
came in hot. You can't even hide.
So you believe that more opening the border benefits?
I would just say
America, like matter of fact, specifically black folk.
Hey,
Matter
I
of
would
fact,
say this,
you
though.
believe, huh?
It
I
does,
think it does.
right?
Okay, let's talk about it, Lo.
So let's just
nobody want to do the shit they do.
Let's look at life, and I'm glad you said that, O'Neal. All of us got kids, little nephews, cousins, and things of that sort. How many of y'all seen going to trades? How many of them going to be electricians, plumbers, carpenters, any of that?
They want to stay inside.
How many of your kids filled out a job application to go bust tables at Red Lobster or any of that? Our kids, these motherfuckers been watching people make money on YouTube since they were 7 years old. They get 15, 16. They starting YouTube channels. These little kids making $10,000, $15,000 a month. These people not thinking about going swinging on hammers. They not getting on top of no roofs. They not getting dirty. Not getting under the ground. They not doing that shit.
They don't go outside and play basketball no more.
None of that shit. So who else gonna do it? Migrants, immigrants. Don't worry, I'll wait.
Yeah. You got to think about who build the houses that we live in now.
Who's building
American?
Who's building our houses? Who's working in our houses? Right.
Who's building our highways?
We just had a roof replaced. Not one word of English was being spoken out there. Not one word.
And listen. Here's the thing, though. What's crazy is the people who are talking about, oh, we need to close the borders, are the main ones hiring them.
Yeah,
I swear for Lord, I could drive around this whole city of Charlotte, and these big corporations building 100-unit apartment buildings. They got all of them undocumented.
It's cheap labor.
And but they the main ones talking about, oh, close the borders, but really leave them open because we need them to work. That's quote unquote cheap labor. Yeah. Come on, dog. Come on. Yeah, I ain't seen not one white dude up on anybody's roof in the whole city of Charlotte. Keep it a bean.
Are y'all training y'all kids to be electricians, roofers, any of that shit? No.
So Los, if you're because the Republicans are pretty much saying close the borders. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where you're going with this because I agree with you 100%. The trades are down. They're aging out. They're dying. Okay, and they're expensive. To get a plumber to come out, man, it's a couple $100. Just to look at. So it's the Republicans that's saying, hey, let's stop these people from coming in, and these are the people that's actually doing the trades. So I'm trying to figure out where you're going with that because I need to understand because those are the ones that are saying, hey, let's not.
Because y'all don't understand government. Y'all worry about the chatter in the background, what they saying on this side, what they saying on this side. Only thing that matters is what's going on and what they doing, right? So I don't care what they say, Democrat or Republican. The bottom line for me is the bottom line, and long as the checks cashing, long as the people free, I don't mind. When it comes to politics, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because I'm ignorant to the fact. I'm actually well versed in it, and that's why I don't care because it's all made up. It's all fiction, y'all. So to sit here and take time and energy out our day and all this stuff to keep talking about some fiction, like it don't make no sense. These people gonna put in office whoever they want. Trump gonna be the next president, regardless of who want him to be there. I ain't vote. I don't never vote, to be totally honest. And Trump was the president the last time. They had everybody emotionally involved, emotionally wrapped up. They put Biden in office. Just like Jonathan Bing, just like Onaje said, like this guy been persecuted and all this type of stuff. Why is he even still running around to even be on the ballot? Because these people gonna do what they want to do. They not gonna put me on a motherfucking ballot with my fucking 5 felonies. Why? Because they don't want to. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna put him on the ballot because it stir up all this energy between all the people. And this is what they like. But he gonna be the next president because they want him to be. It ain't got nothing to do with who y'all vote. Like, I guess y'all forgot about the electoral college as well, huh? Y'all vote don't really fucking matter, man. The vote don't fucking matter.
It don't. They want Trump to get a shoe deal so they can vote for him.
Yeah,
No,
you know,
the vote, when y'all say voting doesn't matter, I can
Local
tell
voting
that you
matters.
aren't
That's the only
voting.
shit that matters. Your
I
local
can tell
judges.
you are not voting in local elections. I can tell. I can tell that you who doing your taxes. What CPA have you hired that will tell you the difference between how your business is affected post election and pre-election, right? Like for those of you that say you don't vote, you are the most impacted by the vote. We are, right? Like, and especially as a woman, right? Like voting doesn't matter. Like the Supreme Court literally took rights from women, literally in 2023. So when we say voting doesn't matter, we can't. You're only talking about presidential elections, and that's only a spot, a blip on the radar when it comes to how we are affected and impacted by who we put into office. Those freeways and infrastructure that you were talking about, someone was voted in office for that. Budget appropriations, the people that approve your contracts, the people that literally approve what that give you your permits are voted into office. And we're literally saying, like, my poor sisters are having to go across state lines just to, even women that are raped. So it is important. It is life and death for women in all voting. So we don't have the right, like we don't have the luxury, actually. We don't have the luxury.
Your pain. I understand, but that's from an emotional standpoint, chat. All you said was from an emotional standpoint.
Oh, okay. So women's rights, women's reproductive rights is emotional. Bet.
So the thing is this, right? And again, I'm not saying that I'm not for women's rights or any of that, but you just came in emotional about all of that, and again, when did women get the right to vote? Who gave them the right to vote?
Are you mansplaining?
No, I'm just asking a question. Who gave women the right to vote?
Are you mansplaining? You came in with emotion. Right.
Yo,
like,
where you going with this, Lowe's?
I'm the only woman on the camera, and you came in. You didn't say that about anybody else on the panel, but you gonna say I came in with emotion. Yeah, you're telling on yourself, Lowe's.
That's your perception. I don't matter. I don't care. I don't give a flying fuck.
We got to get Mickey in, man.
Yeah, we got
Mickey, good morning.
I'll jump in.
Another lady in the building, and then we'll come back to Najee for sure. Mickey, you mind kind of giving us a quick introduction to who you are, real quick, and then jump into the conversation.
Sure. I feel like a dinosaur, but I am Miki Gabriel. I'm the founder and chief financial strategist of Wealth Financial Flowers. I've been in the wealth management space in Houston, Texas for about 30 years. So I do have a unique perspective to a lot of these conversations as a baby economist and someone who's worked with ultra high net worth clients the majority of my professional career. So what I have to say to Los is Social Security emotional and Medicaid? And after school lunches for poor children, because those are things that the Republicans want to cut. So when they are elected, however, we feel that
they
they
their
are
own
elected.
kids. Why are you fucking and you can't take care of them? Why are you doing that? That's your fault, black person. That's your fault, white person. That's your fault, Mexican person. That's your fault as an individual. It ain't a color thing. Why are you having?
Hey, Lowe's, let her finish, big dog. Let her finish, big dog.
Well, no, it's interesting that Los would say that as someone that I know is doing quite well in life, because you know who gets the most welfare in this country? It's wealthy people. So why don't we tell wealthy people to take care of their own thing? Why don't we tell wealthy people you don't need all these tax cuts just for existing? Your trust account, because you made bad investment choices, you don't get to write that off. You don't get to deduct the cost of a financial advisor or your CPA, rich person. Corporation, you need to pay your own bills too. You don't need tax deductions. You can't take millions or billions of dollars and have them offshore and save in taxes. So before I tell a single mom, a veteran, a senior, that they don't need money from the government, I'm going to need the rich people to pony up and pay their share. How about nobody get a tax deduction? How about that? No tax credits, no tax deductions for anyone, and let everyone pay what they're supposed to pay. So Social Security is something that Republicans want to cut. That's going to impact our seniors, our elders, our veterans, and we really need to be concerned about that. The 8A government contract program, that has to do with the Republican stacked Supreme Court that is going to be in place for decades, and they're just getting started. So when we say that voting doesn't matter, when we say that we don't have any control, are we leaving the country? Are we throwing our hands up in the air in despair? Because we do have a lot of power. And that's why Donald Trump lost the last time. I'm done speaking.
What you got there, Lou? You're on mute. Hold on. Let's see. You got to unmute.
The only shit that matter, when you get talking about, all this shit that y'all talking about, this the only shit that matter. You see, it said business law, a treatise on extraordinary legal remedies, business law, trust and administration, securing secure transactions. When you understand these things, all the stuff you say out your mouth is false. This is the law. This is the reason why I cannot pay no taxes. This is the reason right here. It ain't nothing else. It's not my fault y'all don't know this shit. But if y'all Google the tax code and learn that motherfucker, it's there for you to use also. It's just so happened that white people been using it. That's your fault. Like this shit right here, Malachi told me about this book. Malachi, he looked like me. He paid less taxes more probably than you as well. Like, y'all got to educate yourself. This shit y'all fault, man. This shit is in a book.
Yeah, but the tax code changes every presidency, every couple
years. That's why you got to stay on top of it.
Hold on. Yes, the goal, we all should, as smart people, should use the tax code to the fullest, right, to our advantage. But we also change the tax code damn near every year. Every budget crisis, there's a change in the tax code. And the question is, how is that tax code changing, right? Who's that affect? Who's paying their fair share? Statistically, to Mickey's point, which nobody addressed, right, is that wealthy people pay a lower percentage than other people in this country because that is how they, no. It is smart, and they do have accountants. I agree with you, right? But you also have different constituencies that says, we're going to add this particular tax code in. For example, here's a tax code that affects many of the real estate people on this chat right now, right? There's a bill up on whether or not to extend bonus depreciation. I have personally used bonus depreciation. Bonus depreciation has helped me tremendously, right? Probably has helped you tremendously, Los. Our good friend Malachi also calls it the best cheat code ever invented by the tax man. He says it's the best cheat code ever. But understand this, that was written in. Someone made a policy for that, right? And that policy is actually set to expire, right? And there's conversations on whether that policy.
Who did that? Who did that? Who did that?
That's Trump's policy.
That's the orange guy.
No, hold on. No. Look, two things can be right at the same time. He can help me, but it also can hurt the small guy, right? And no. Bonus depreciation does not help 90% of Americans. Let's be real clear. I might be in the top 10, 5%, right?
It only helps the people that know about it, the people that use it.
No. And again, two things can be right. There's plenty of things that I take advantage of that helps me financially that does not help the rest of the country. Because at the end of the day, it took out taxes and goes up tax basis for average people. So at the end of the day, if you're a millionaire and I'm only paying 0% or 2%, I haven't paid taxes in 3 years. I have not had to write a check for taxes in 3 years, right? I make a lot more money than the average American, a significant amount more money than the average American, right? Am I going to take advantage of that? Absolutely, right? But does that hurt? Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. Well, right? Two things can be true at the same time. And at the end of the day, these same Black people, when you talk about bonus depreciation, when you talk about opportunity zones, which I support both of those, right? Fact of the matter is that causes higher levels of gentrification.
Real quick though, Najee, why do you make more money than the average person? Let's break that down first and foremost. Because see, we can't act like you just make more money and it just exists in a vacuum. And as a result of you making more money, more people in the in the world aren't benefiting as a result of you specifically making more money. The only reason why Jeff Bezos is a billionaire is because he helps a lot of people. A lot of people. The reason why you have millions upon millions in assets is because you service and help a lot of people.
That's me, but the average millionaire right now is making their money on the stock market, and that does not equate to job growth.
But what does stock market consist of? Businesses that help who? People.
No, not necessarily. So here's another one. Statistically, right? And again, businesses do employ and help people, but we have to also follow the stats. The number one cause of inflation right now is higher profit margins on higher cost of goods being sold in America right now. Follow Robert Reich. He's a former economic chief in this country, right? When you look at, and I'm talking about toilet paper, I'm talking about beans, rice, whatever. Every good in America is up inflationary wise. And people say, well, because inflation is killing everybody, right? We can all agree inflation is killing everybody, right? Well, go back and look at those company P&Ls and ask yourself what's going on. Right? If their goods was being raised, and their overall margin shouldn't be increasing. But margins are way up. Prices are way up for these corporations because they took advantage of a time to raise prices during the pandemic. Everybody didn't get affected by the supply chain, guys, just so we're clear. But everybody took advantage of the perception that supply chain was going up.
What about the people who suffered as a result of the supply chain changes?
And oh, by the way, who hurt that supply chain? Trump. Right? So, oh yeah. Yeah. When you increase, that's what the whole tariff conversation is about. When you put on trade tariffs, taxes, let's be clear, a tariff is a tax. We can all Google this now. Okay. What is a tariff? Is a tax. It does not hurt the person that you're trading with because they're just going to raise their price. It hurts the consumer. And America is a consumer-based economy. I'm not the first person to tell y'all this, right? We make our money off of consumption, and our people suffer when we're higher costs of goods and services in our country. That's what's happening right now. Inflation is high directly because of Trump for two big reasons. One, he spent money like a sailor. He has the highest budget deficit. Our deficit went up the highest under his presidency, which is a fact. That's a fact. No, he had the highest debt. American debt went up the highest under his presidency than any other presidency in history. Fact. Okay, so that devalues the dollar. So anybody want to talk about the devaluation of the dollar, talk about your boy Trump. Okay, Trump also had the lowest economic output in history since 1946. I'm reading this right now. The U.S. economy shrank 3.5% under Trump in 2020 and had an average of less than 1% under him. That's the lowest since World War II. No other president can say that. But
you don't think the pandemic had nothing to do with that? Not the slightest bit?
He also, some of it. And guess what? His policies is.
You talked about jobs being lost. How many companies closed their doors because of COVID? I'm sure that had a lot to do with job numbers.
And who was
that
in
was
charge?
Just 2020.
Was it a magical president in charge under COVID, or was it Trump and his stupidity every day coming on TV, all talking dumb shit every day? Like, let's be real, right? Like, can we not remember he coming on TV every day talking about something different from what he said the next day? Let's be clear. If we
believe somebody made job decisions based on what Trump had to say?
I'm saying his policies on how he chose to handle COVID hurt our economy even more. I stand on that. If we had a more stable person, stable-minded, a little bit more calm, that actually listen to experts, right? You guys are acting. I don't understand how we can blame Biden for actually a low unemployment. Right. And we said, well, it's not good enough. But when Trump sends our unemployment to the highest since the Great Depression, everybody's like, oh, that's cool. Right. Oh, how is that? Right. He was the guy running the ship. Well, COVID happened. Yeah. COVID happened on your watch and you let it happen however it happened. Everything that happened under COVID was based on his policies. Now, because of COVID, I'm of the opinion if a Democrat or Biden or actually Hillary, because I was a big fan of Hillary, I truly believe in my heart that we wouldn't have had the issues that we would have had under COVID with them. I really believe that.
You know, let me just say this. Let me just jump in. I want to hear from
John.
Yeah, because we're talking about Trump's economy and what Trump did. Like I said in the beginning, most of that, the first year and a half was Obama's economy. Okay, let's start there. Let's look at the economy today. right now, our S&P has hit highs several times, and I said this earlier, and our stock market has hit highs several times. So now when we're sitting here, we're talking about Trump, and we're talking about what he's done and what he's doing. We have to look at this right here. Right now, the UK, recession, okay? China, stagflation. I mean, their economy is in the toilet. China their real estate market has set a record for in the worst way. Okay, everything that can go wrong in China is going wrong in China. We right now have the best economy in the world. The best economy in the world. That's happening under Joe Biden. That's when you can look back and say, okay, because right now everyone's talking about COVID. Trump had COVID. But let's look at what's happened after COVID, and let's compare us to the rest of the world. The United States standing has gotten greater after COVID under Biden leadership than it was prior to COVID under Trump's leadership. So that's how you look at it. That's how you have to measure things. Okay, when you're trying to, we keep saying Trump's COVID, Trump COVID. We make all the excuses.
So we didn't have economic
Biden had a
boom. So the economy wasn't doing good under Trump as well.
No, see, the economy, once again,
the stock market didn't boom during that time.
He inherited Obama's economy.
Actually, Biden has the highest level growth of stock market over Trump. Like, go look at the last year. If your stock portfolio is booming, who is currently president? Like, we can anything good from Trump. I can name 5 presidencies that did better than him. He's not ranked high on any level that y'all say. So you want to talk about the stock economy, right? Let's talk about Biden's stock economy right now. It is booming. Go look at the stock market. Everybody pull up their iPhone right now and tell me how the stock growth over the last year or 2 years. It's
impossible. It couldn't go nowhere but up. It was all the way tight at the bottom. Shit, nigga, I could have went in that motherfucker and took that bitch to 17,000.
Look, the stock market has never been higher today than ever. The stock market has never been higher than today. Today, we wake up, the stock market is at its highest point in America.
Because we got the most time. We in year 2024. It's more people in the market. It's more assets. It ain't got necessarily to do because this guy had a better policy and it took it up. When he came
it absolutely
in,
does
it was at the bottom.
to do with policy. May I, fellas? Because it's interesting when we compare Trump's administration, which I do agree with Jonathan. The first year and a half, he did inherit from Obama. But what we're failing to forget is that Obama left a very, very robust economy. Trump did not encounter anything major. 2020, right, was the year we had elections. So it's funny that we're looking at his administration based on COVID. Earlier, someone said something about the depreciation and that the orange guy did it. Well, why is it that he did not indemnify those tax cuts for the Americans, the individuals? But what he did do was make sure that the ones for corporations stayed in place, which is why the ones for Americans, individuals, are actually sunsetting. He did not even make sure that those would stay in place. He put them in place for a short period of time. So you have him to thank for that as well. Also, we fail to forget that Trump's tax legislation, in regards to the comment about legislation does not impact the markets, in 2017 or 2018, we actually had a negative market because of Donald Trump, because of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, because it tanked the market, because it did too much too soon. Example, like with Obama, we had steady, attainable growth, which is how you want the economy to function, right? You don't just want to put a big Band-Aid, which is what we did after COVID. And I also want to point out that Biden is better at being bipartisan. Gangsta Jerome Powell, who is absolutely one of my favorites, is a Republican. And he did it in a very conservative way, lowering the interest rates, increasing the interest rates. And I will land and say, in comparison to the other countries, for example, Japan just announced that they are increasing their interest rates when we did that a couple of years ago. So these other countries are now following what we did. So when you think that legislation does not impact the market, does not impact your business, does not impact your dollar, I don't know what to tell you, quite honestly. You're losing out. I'm done.
I think Chad wanted to comment.
Speaking of Jerome Powell, did anybody listen to his last speech? Because the Fed is getting ready to meet again today, and they're going to be talking about whether they're going to lower interest rates or not. But if Chairman Powell communicated his ideas the same way that Trump communicates, would anybody listen to him? And would he still have the job?
When did Trump take? I mean, when did Obama take office? What year was that, y'all? 2009, correct?
Correct. He inherited the worst economy in the
2008,
United
2009. What happened?
Since the Great Depression.
2008, 2009. What happened?
That was because of Bush. That was not because of Obama.
See, everybody talking about blame. I ain't talking about
the housing crisis. The housing crisis occurred. The Great Recession.
So if that's the case, when he came into office, the economy was shit, right? It took and then it took him years to get it back together, which is rightfully so. I'm not saying that it's a problem or anything that or he shouldn't have, but what I'm saying is, where else the economy was gonna go? When he inherited it, it was at the rock bottom. It was fucked up.
So you don't get credit. You don't give somebody credit for cleaning up somebody's mess. And are we seeing the trend here, guys?
But hold on. But I'm not done. So and again, it's not them that clean up the mess. It ain't him.
Does it happen magically? Like I guess that's the point. Republican presidencies tend to tear up the economy. Democratic presidencies tend to help it. So I'm about to name off some stats for y'all. George W. Bush, right? He left it 2001. His performance on the S&P 500 down 16%. His performance in 2005, his second presidency, up 13%. Barack Obama, 2009, S&P 500, up 74% after in 2009. 2013, Barack Obama, up 38%. Trump, he's up a whopping 5.5%. Joe Biden, up 34%. Like, look, guys, this is the S&P 500 performance under these periods. It's interesting that when Republicans tank the economy, Reaganomics, Bush, Trump, all three of these guys tanked the economy successfully, right? Oh, they were great. They were, because they told us everything we want to hear. These guys are fantastic at talking to you. They're not fantastic at actually working and doing their damn job, right? That's what Democrats, now if y'all want to fault Democrats for anything, they're terrible at praising themselves and patting themselves on the back because they're actually busy working and improving the situation that we put them into by voting in these imbeciles, right? That's the problem. Right? No one can tell me the actual policy. We talk about how we feel, but tell me the legislation that worked for the total economy under these presidencies.
I would imagine that this is how wealth is created, my brother. I think that's systematic. It's not a coincidence that when the economy go down, all the Democrats, all the Republicans buy all the stock and bonds that's down. It's not. When we look at JP Morgan just last year, he made a statement and said that anybody buying Bitcoin, any of his staff get caught buying Bitcoin, he firing them. The same time, at the same exact time, fucking Chase spent $500 billion on Bitcoin at the same exact time. So like. He tanked the stock. He tanked Bitcoin when he said that. You can go back and look. The Bitcoin dropped when he said that. And then they went and bought 500 billion worth. They tanked the economy because that's economics. They do that on purpose. It's our fault because we're not in a position to grab the stocks and take advantage of this shit when they do it. We're not taking advantage of the cycles. We take advantage of the real estate cycles. We sit here, you and I, we sit and talk about when the real estate cycle happened, and we talk about why we should buy and who we should buy, and then we condemn or we don't, or we try to help our brothers and sisters to take advantage of this part in the market. But we're not doing the same thing in the stock because that's literally the same exact thing that they do. They create a cycle, and they fucking know when the cycle is low, all of our Democrat friends, all of our independent friends, all our Republican friends is buying all this shit and getting wealthy.
But who's the ones tanking this cycle? Who's the one starts this cycle by tanking?
There you go.
Now.
Republicans, Democrats statistically have better economies.
And I'm not saying that you're not wrong. But what I'm saying is
I'm not wrong.
Part of the process.
Right, but the
process need to learn the process and play the game properly.
Yes, but the process is that Donald Trump is running and he is a Republican. So if you statistically care about your money, you would vote Democrat. Democrats have better economies, higher increased GDP, and better stock markets. Now, those are the facts. So if you're voting your money, you would always vote Democrat. Just FYI.
Trump is actually a Democrat. He's just a Republican on paper. He like the ugly dude that look with a great personality, but looks great on paper. But he's 5'3". He's literally like great. He is a Democrat. He has voted right and trended Democratic in all of his policies, right? Like that. I mean, he hung out with the Clintons. Right,
he only switched to Republican when he ran for office. He publicly about that, and he's also very public on why he did it. Right, it's easier to win elections on the Republican side because they're poorly educated. Right,
he didn't actually say that. They fact checked it, and that was not true. So
no, he did say that.
He did not say that.
No, that's a video of him saying, "I love the poorly educated."
I'll put the link in the chat.
That's everywhere.
Yeah. The fact check is he did not say that.
So
I'm kind of like Kellyanne Conway right now. This is crazy. It sounds like I'm saying fake news, but seriously though, no, they did fact check it.
So, Chad, you honestly believe that you gonna be in position to vote for Biden this coming election?
You know what? I'm voting for Kamala Harris. Okay, that's what's gonna happen. Because I'm voting for the vice president in both elections because both of these dudes are on.
So wait a minute.
No. He tried to keep black people in jail past their out date. I'm triggered.
Are both running for office. So I'm voting for the vice president. That's who I'm voting for. So I'm voting for Kamala because I know she's gonna have my back. Okay. That's who I'm voting
That is
for.
hilarious.
I am not voting for Biden or Trump because I don't know if they're gonna make it.
Y'all don't vote for presidencies. We vote for administrations. And
I worked for both Obama and Trump administration. So the things, and I said this earlier, the things that I've seen, right, on like no party has a stronghold on ethics. No party can literally tout, right, that they really take care of its people and its interests. They really can't. I mean, I kind of agree with Los on that. Like you have to make, the policies work for you, right? You got to make the laws work for you. So where I disagree is how do you make the laws work for you, right? Those tax laws, Congress votes for those. So who we're putting in those congressional seats matters, right? You don't got Jim Bob at home writing tax law, with Susie. Like that's not happening. So who we put in office, right, is actually guiding us, right? Anaja, you had a great point when you said that tax laws change frequently, right? They do. I remember during Trump's administration, and I'm in the nonprofit sector, during Trump's administration, literally giving went down for churches across the country. Why? Because people paid tithes, right? People gave to faith-based organizations because of the tax break. Well, Trump increased that tax code. So you saw a lot of churches close during the pandemic, right? You saw a lot of like churches' doors closed, and then some people don't care. I do. I'm a preacher's kid. So you just saw it really affect the people by those policies, right? But Trump also during his first 3 years, if you take both Biden and Trump in their first 3 years, the S&P was higher under Trump, right? Almost double. He was at about 49% increase, whereas Biden is at 29%, right? Like it is not like, and I remember Democrats saying during Trump's administration, who cares about the stock market? The stock market doesn't affect the people. Who cares? But now you're quoting S&P indexes and the stock market stats, but I thought it didn't affect the people. It actually, like who we're voting in office matters. I think I froze, but go ahead.
I also want to say about taxes, and it's interesting because this is a real estate space. Are we forgetting about the SALT tax caps that Donald Trump enacted that absolutely did stifle the American dollar? And Republicans were quite vocal about, quote unquote, it would mostly harm people in the blue states. That was a big deal. And that was also part and parcel about why he lost, because he forgot. Wealthy people used to max out those deductions. Our clients would routinely double up every other year and max the heck out of that. So yes, who is in office matters, tax policy matters, legislation matters, the stock market most definitely matters, because almost 90% of the stock market is owned by white people. So you don't think they care about their money? Absolutely.
I want to pivot and kind of get some information as to, because a lot of people here are in business or want to be in business or aspire to figure out how they can best play the game going into 2025. People are already setting that up. So I want to know what's you guys' thoughts on what the business environment, based on historicals, will be like going into this election. Do we see interest rates potentially coming down, right? For housing specifically, mortgage rates. Do we see the economy getting stronger? Do we see the economy getting weaker? What's your thoughts on that? Because I know, look, we all got to be strategic, and I know Los has kind of laid out a lot of ways that he is staying on top of the different things. I want to get his take, Najee, Jay Bing, all of the business people here or work in the formal business. I really want to get everybody's take on this because this is important. What's your take on what the economic environment that we need to start preparing ourselves for going into this election and beyond?
Well, Chairman Powell said in his last speech that we need to have more of the same. We need to have more of the same. Inflation is hitting right around 3%. He'd love to get it down to 2%, but he wants to keep it about, if they get more of the same, then maybe we can start talking about cutting the rates and then getting things back to, taking the brakes off the economy. He doesn't want to do it too soon because he feels that the economy would heat up. And then people are saying, well, if he waits too long, we could end up in a recession. So the Fed is meeting today, and I'm going to be on CNBC. CNBC to check it out to see what they're saying, and then what these people who are investing in the economy, and then watch the stock market react to what he's saying. So that's where I'm going to be.
I think that the interest rates will go down. But once again, they had to have gone up. And that's, once again, Trump did not care what happened to the economy. He didn't care about inflation. He just wanted everything to look good so he can get elected. So Biden came in. He was the adult in the room. We had to raise interest rates to get inflation under control. Inflation unexpectedly was higher the last time, the last report. So I think right now, because we're going in an election year, because of the fact that we've gotten so political, I think that, believe it or not, we're going to have lower interest rates, and it's going to be, once again, political. And I understand
real quick,
how.
JB, save that thought. But real quick, I got a question for you. Do you believe that it was the interest rates that created a lot of the economic issues in terms of inflation, or the printing of money that created this environment? What's your take on that?
They go part and parcel. They went together. The printing of money. There was a lot of money. We have a lot of money out there, okay, and we have more money out there than ever before. When you have that kind of money out there, and you have a supply shortage. Let's look at lumber. You have that supply shortage, and you have all that money. What is people going to do? I'll pay you more. I'll pay you more because they have more money to pay. And it's sort of like like the gas. Let's look at gas prices. Right now gas prices are pretty high. I mean, it goes up, down, up, down. Once I guess business realized that there's an appetite and that people will pay a certain price for something, and because they had to, because it went up, they're not anxious to take it back down. Look at egg prices.
Hey, Ben, real quick, why is gas prices so high?
Why gas prices so high?
Because you can't sell fucking electric cars with $1.89 gas, and they fucking mandated in California that all cars that's gas gonna be out of there. So you can't fucking get electric cars if everybody running around with $1.99 gas. So no, they're gonna rake it up so they can move into electric cars. so they can hit everybody's car with an EMV later on. But I digress.
That may have something to do with it, but more importantly, what happened, I think, Louis, is a barrel of oil went up. And when Osama bin Laden, did 9/11, he what he was saying was a barrel of oil should be $200 a barrel, and it was somewhere around $35 a barrel at that time. Okay, and then next thing you know, when the oil, when everything hit, oil went up $120, $130, $140 a barrel. And the people, the OPEC members and the Arabs, and everyone else, Exxon here, ExxonMobil, they were all making a ton of money. Okay, then as oil prices started to go back down, they didn't lower the price of gasoline, they as quickly as much as the oil prices reflect. So that leads to today, like when Biden put that letter out to the oil companies, because gas prices was much higher and the oil prices was what they were previously. And so it just doesn't make sense. It's about profit gouging. People are gouging the American public. They think that the American, once they realize that the American public will pay a certain price for something because of the times that we're in, they're going to keep it at that price and they're going to take the profits. Najee, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the gas thing, that's a direct correlation to this whole Russian invasion of Ukraine, right? So when they're just trying to control gas and the OPEC nations are rolling with them. So again, like, we got to be understanding of who's doing what and how, right? We're actually producing more oil in America right now ever in history, right? Biden don't get credit for that.
We're
right?
the largest oil producing country in the world right now.
Exactly.
Oh, shit. I ain't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Biden, they're terrible at messaging, right? They're terrible at marketing, but that much is true. But to get back to Byron's point, right? We got to ask ourselves where we're at right now. Right now, we've got good, steady job growth. Unemployment is low. Stock market is high, right? Whatever metric you like, things are rolling good. The only thing that most people don't like is our interest rates right now. The reason why interest rates are higher is so we can get down this deficit, so we can make sure that we're not overheating the economy, right? People want to talk about, look, you can overheat economies, you can underheat economies. The whole point is about balanced, long-term sustainable growth is what we should be looking for, not short-term spikes, because you can't get that long-term, right? But Trump don't understand this kind of stuff. And I want to go back to a point. We don't vote in presidencies. We vote in administrations. And when I talk about administrations, it's all the people that come with them. Who's over the Treasury? Who's over the HUD department? Who's over who's over all the thousands of government entities and departments that actually drive real economics to real people, right? Not only are you voting in Trump, you're voting in all the clowns and the idiots that don't know what they're talking about.
The whole circus.
Yeah, the whole circus is coming, right? When you vote in the guy, hold on. When you vote in the guy like Ben Carson, who's actually a doctor, and say, hey, you run the HUD department because you stayed in a Section 8 unit one time before, but you don't know nothing about housing. You never did any work in housing policy, right? And you strip stuff out of the HUD department, that has a direct correlation to the economy, right? When you vote in Steve Mnuchin to run Treasury, and this is the architect of reverse mortgages. Now, again, somebody tell me how reverse mortgages ever did good about old people. It don't, right? This is a guy that had record. This guy
ain't nobody qualified.
Yeah, everybody qualified. Like, these are the people that was in charge of the administration. This guy was leading the charge on foreclosures, Steve Mnuchin, right? This guy, and he doesn't have a good track record of actual running businesses. And he's over Treasury Department, right? We have to actually track the people that are doing these things, not just the Supreme Court. We all know the ramifications of voting in Trump with the Supreme Court, but all of these other governmental entities, right? When you look at minority business, right? We finally started to make some headway under Biden with minority contracting. All of us want to forget about that. Well, how do we, that's an accident? It ain't. Now there's lawsuits coming saying it's illegal to give us a contract because we're a minority. And some people might say that's cool. I would just say these contracts was leveling the playing field because we were never in the room, right? We were never in the room on a lot of these government contracts. We were not allowed to be in the play. Biden put that in. That was part of his whole infrastructure bill, right? So and now that stuff is being backsided. Now they're saying, hey, there's no discrimination. Discrimination don't exist. I know a lot of people that got hired off of DEI. All that's getting rolled back. I don't know about y'all. I know a lot of people that get hired that way, right? Well, DEI, you're discriminating against white people because black people getting these jobs. We was 2% of the work of these executive jobs. Now we go up to 5%. And these boys are mad.
You know, can you tell everybody what DEI is? Because some people may not be familiar with that.
Diversity inclusion, right? So you know, again, we have direct benefits. Now, some people might say, hey, you know, evaluate me on merit. I'm one of those people. I would love to be evaluated on merit. If I could walk down the street and not be reminded I'm a black man, that would be amazing. But not true, right? I would love for people to evaluate me based on my brain power. If I was that, boy, I'd be a billionaire. You know, but that's not the reality of the situation, right?
So wait a minute. So you believe that because of the color of your skin, you are not a billionaire?
I'm joking, but
okay.
I'm joking, but truthfully, right? I can count and I can identify key moments of my life where I know somebody tried to hold me back because of my race. That much is true, right? I can identify a lot of situations where I've gotten screwed because of my race, whether that's a job promotion or an appraisal on one of my apartment buildings. I know I've got my race on that. Right. So call that whatever you want to call it. People have held me. These are situations that I have to deal with as an African American that other people ain't got to deal with. Right.
I want to know this.
You don't agree with that, Byron?
What's that?
That sometimes we get held back as being black and in certain predicaments.
Yeah, I mean that's always going to be you know, a reality in this country, but at the same time, I would say this. I just try to put myself in. Yeah, I just try to put myself in situations where I can dictate my own level of success. Me personally, I try to put myself in that situation, and I don't utilize that as a crutch for me personally. I'm gonna go hard, and I feel like at the end of the day, we got to compete.
A lot of black people use that as a crutch. God damn.
Man,
it's a religion.
It's a religion. 4 times. I got 5 felonies. Boy, I ain't trying to hear that shit. There ain't no crutches.
Bring your value down 75K. Holla at me then.
Well, it's not necessarily a crush, Byron. But do you feel that you have to go harder?
Oh, you got to, for sure.
I think, but here's the thing, though.
I'm just asking. The reason why I'm asking is, if you feel you have to go harder, what does that have to? How do you think that affects your psyche and your health? If you have to go
gravity, I think gravity attacks everything going up. And I think a lot of times we've put like this. I'm gonna just keep it real quick. I'm gonna keep it real. I remember when I was in school, and I remember like looking at some of my peers that were in the same grades. I mean, same class. But the thing about it was, bro, them people, when I started looking at why they was achieving the grades that they were achieving,
you watch what they did.
I watched what they did, right? And it's no different from the people I watch in business, right? And
you do the work, you get the results.
Man, come on, man. Them people was eating right. Yeah. Listen to me now. Listen to me. They was eating right. Yeah. They were working out. They had set study times. They were studying their ass off. They was doing the work. To achieve the success that they were achieving. Now, when I copied and emulated that, I got similar results. And so I'm always leery about how we just kind of arbitrarily put folks' accomplishments in a race, when at the end of the day, man, like anything going up meets gravity. Everything. I don't give a damn what it is. And a lot of the stuff that we look at as easy, it ain't easy as it looks when you have to put that shit in practice. That's why I'm always big, at least on this show, and a lot of things that I do and the people I take advice from. Look, anybody can make something sound good theoretically, but let me see you put that in practice. Let me see if all those ideas stand up when you gotta deal with payroll, when you gotta deal with different laws or regulations. I was talking to Anaje yesterday about some some city officials coming after your. When it meets the real world, you see how hard it is to make anything go up, and you just have a different respect for what people put into their level of success. That's all.
I hear you. I hear you, Byron. But you can't discount the fact that now that you hear the Super Bowl commercials and you've got the NFL saying diversity and inclusion, and we want to support you, but then you still have a Colin Kaepernick who was trying to promote diversity and inclusion, and he's still on the outs. They ruined his career. So
he might have did the wrong way though.
Yeah, he ruined his own career.
He fucked it up. He made
a mistake, and he didn't get the proper. He didn't get what he was looking for in return.
Is a joke.
Yeah, he fucked that up on his own.
So the thing is this, y'all. So no, go ahead.
I think Los was Who was the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say because I froze. No, DEI. If you look up anything from DEI, because I write DEI curriculum, right, and I teach it from a veteran's perspective, but also from a Black woman's perspective, right? I've written curriculum for it. The problem with DEI and what we saw from pandemic levels right to today is a lot of companies just put a banner or a tagline about DEI, but there was nothing to come back, no scorecard, nothing to verify if they're actually implementing what that tagline says they do, right? And that loophole, that was the same loophole for affirmative action, is white women. That's the same loophole. We can say affirmative action, all day long, but then white women are the highest beneficiaries of affirmative action, right? So is it that we're not pushing ourselves as people? Like, are we not applying for those jobs? Are we not going after those opportunities? I think we are. I think the system is set up to benefit others, because all they do again is tell us, hey, do this. Oh, after George Floyd, everything that was written about George Floyd, DEI was big. All these, or Coca-Cola, all these big organizations were saying they were going to make all of these DEI efforts, and they didn't. They didn't change anything. So, what we as a people need to do is, if we're saying that DEI is an initiative that we need to push, then we need to ask for results. The same thing happened with Black Lives Matter. All they did was protest. Well, until you added legislation and policy to your efforts, all you're doing is walking down the street in some bad shoes. What we need to do as a people is to follow up and to ask people that we're asking to write policies for us. We're asking people, corporations, to hire us. We need to make sure that we go back and follow up to see if they're actually doing it.
So may I comment on that?
Byron, let me ask you a question, Byron.
Yeah.
O'Neal, Onaje, all of y'all. The same question. When y'all present a contract to anybody, who does that contract present? Who does that contract benefit?
Us.
Us as in who?
The person presenting it.
All right. So when someone creates a system, who do you think that system's to benefit?
The person creating it.
Whoever presented it.
So I don't understand why we are fucking so delusional about who the system is to benefit when we ain't the one who created it. So the thing is, why don't we create shit ourselves? We always looking for inclusion in somebody else shit, and then we want to tell them how they got to treat us in they shit, how they got to hire us on they shit, on they terms. That shit is beyond me. So everybody's talking about what they can get and what they can do for XYZ corporation. But like when we have our own shit, when we hire our own people, what do our own people do? Maybe y'all can't relate because y'all not in a position to some of us, but y'all want to count our money. Well, then we sold 833 hamburgers. I should get a raise today. Y'all don't treat them like that though, right? So now our company can't grow as big as these other ones because y'all want to fucking pull us down. Y'all want to file lawsuits. Y'all want to go on Google and get badass reviews and do all this shit, but y'all don't do them like that. Y'all don't do them like that.
Yo,
that's absolute
what you got to think about that,
JB?
JB?
All this inclusion and they shit, and you wonder why you get railroaded. It's your fault. Support your own people. Get your own shit. So get your own system. And that's what I did. And maybe that's why my results are different. You see, that shit say founder Smoothie RX, not motherfucking VP of Coca-Cola, nigga. I do my own shit.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know, Los, I agree with you for the most part what you're saying, but I think what's being neglected here is for generations. There's been institutional racism, okay, that and companies has benefited from it. All right, people have been put in positions, and wealth has been created as a result on the back of. If you look at the prison system, okay, in terms of that whole prison complex system, all that was built on the back.
We do it to ourselves. Don't no motherfucker. Don't no motherfucker go to the inner city of Chicago and make a shorty grab one of these motherfuckers and go put it in somebody else's face and make them take something from them. Make them shoot them in the face. Like we do this shit to ourselves, regardless of all this stuff.
But policy will have a determination on a gram of coke versus a gram of weed, right? Let's be honest here.
No. Hey, Najee, I want to, because you're saying gram of coke versus gram of weed, a gram of coke versus a gram of coke. Okay, let's do that. Okay, because crack cocaine and powder cocaine is the same exact fucking thing.
No, it's actually less cocaine than crack. Actually,
exactly. But what I'm trying to tell you is, the sentencing for crack cocaine was like 10 times higher than it was for regular powder cocaine. Crack cocaine was the minorities, black people. That's what it affected. So once again, and then when you start looking at loitering, let's talk about loitering. Okay, where I live right now, I there's no fucking thing as loitering. No one gets fucking arrested for loitering right here. That's some made up racist shit that only happens in the inner city. Okay, you have you ever? I don't know how many of you guys live in the burbs or whatever. Loitering. That's the most racist fucking law that there was ever created. And guess what? They get you for loitering. They take you down. Now you got a ticket. Now or you have a bail. So that hits you economically. If you don't make it, then next thing you know, you got a warrant. I mean, once again, and then the over policing in our neighborhoods. You're right. No one's forcing anyone to put a gun in someone's face. But there's a lot of social economic. There's a lot of things that's going on, policies that's forcing people. Okay, I mean, hell.
Dante, actually, they do force people to put guns in their face. I'll say it boldly, right? There's direct I'll say it boldly. There's a direct economic correlation between crime and poverty.
Absolutely, 100%.
That is a fact. You look at every graph on poverty lines in certain neighborhoods and over time, and you will see a direct correlation to crime going up. That's common sense.
I can show you some different graphs. That's not true. That's not true.
Hold on.
You have poor areas. Areas. Matter of fact, even here in Houston,
in white areas as well. As it don't matter, black, white, Hispanic, whatever. If the poverty rate goes up in an area, meaning more people
go up. Meaning not every time. Not every time. That's not a direct correlation.
It is. It is.
No, you have some areas that are poor that don't have high levels of crime.
Commit more crimes than black people in this country, by the way, just so we're clear, so we can be honest about some stuff, right? There is a direct correlation with crimes, and violent crime go up as people go through more poverty. That is a fact. It don't matter what city we talking about. It don't matter what city you're talking about. It don't matter what people you talking about. When people can't eat, they're going
in survival mode, which bring crime.
Yeah, they're going to find a way to eat one way or another. When they can't eat because the economy sucks in that area, and when the economy improves, then crime typically goes down. Not all the time, but it for sure goes up. And so, yes, I'm not a proponent of nobody putting a gun in their hand, but I also understand when you bleed a neighborhood out, right? And I grew up in the hood and all that, just like many of y'all. When you bleed a neighborhood out, when you put in policy to over police, when you put in policy so people can't eat and feed their family because you daddy's in jail on some on a weed charge or whatever, right? Mama can't do what she need to do because she don't get the same resources as somebody else. There's food deserts, et cetera, et cetera. That's gonna lead to somebody being in a desperate situation, and typically a lot of crime happens because of desperate situations, right? That's the truth, and you can track that all for the last 100 years in this country.
Mickey, what's your thoughts about this conversation? I seen you trying to talk earlier. You got cut off. She with us? All right, she's not with us. So we got a lot of entrepreneurs here. We got a lot of investors here. How important is this politics conversation for the people that's coming up in business? Because I'll be honest, I just got into this, and I'm 30.
It don't
so
matter.
How important is this?
Because I read the tax code myself personally. You know what I'm saying? When it's a change, they don't change the entire fucking tax code. They change a couple little pieces. You learn what they changed. You go find a loophole because they always keep a loophole for themselves and they fucking friends. You go learn that loophole and you don't have to relearn the whole tax code. Just like every law, every state, every year, they make a change. They repeal a law and things of that sort. So you make the necessary adjustments and you adjust as a business owner. Like that's what you do. You see a trend, you try to get in front of them, you try to create them, and that's it. That's all. Business. If you in business, you are reactionary. It's a lot of things that you can do to be on the offense, but a lot of this shit is reactionary. So I don't really trip. Whoever get in office, whatever policy they do, I'm gonna figure a way to get in there.
So where they go to find that all out, Lou?
IRS.gov. Shit, it's not hard.
So every presidential election, they should be going on IRS.gov.
Read the tax code. Same shit. Najee just said. Tax code change every year. Go read it.
He ain't lying.
And just to prove a point real quick and push back, I want to shout out to all of the cities that don't have high levels with high levels of poverty, but don't have high levels of crime. Shout out to Abilene, Texas. Munis, Indiana, Texarkana, where Aurora, Colorado, Lexington, Kentucky, San Jose, California. These are all areas, I'm just saying, with high levels of poverty and lower levels of crime. Just
well, because the whole area is in poverty, right? They're on the same. They're on the same.
I'm just saying that
you can't take nothing from nothing.
Here's the thing. I think hold on. I think criminality, right? And just to kind of highlight what Los was talking about, I think criminality is something that can be, obviously you're going to have higher rates of criminality in poor areas because of starvation and all of the things. But I would say this, a lot of the criminality that Los is talking about, I think is more culturally systemic than it is just the poverty alone, because you'd be surprised that the people that's putting the guns in people's faces, I'm gonna say some of them are probably in situations where they're impoverished, but a lot of them are not impoverished and they still doing it. I grew up in the hood. Najee, you grew up in the hood. A lot of the gun violence ain't from people who ain't got no place to stay. A lot of the gun violence ain't coming from people who can't get another meal. Matter of fact, the people who are struggling to get a meal, them people are out on the street and I ain't gonna say they completely peaceful, but a lot of them they not doing nothing criminal other than petty crime, maybe going to the store to steal something, right? Or something like that. But for the most part, when you talk about somebody putting a gun in somebody's face, first of all, you need money to get the gun, right? These are crimes typically of opportunity and social and cultural ties that has nothing to do just with poverty itself. So I just wanted to highlight that.
You know, listen to me, guys. Listen to me. We can't dispute that poverty and crime goes hand in hand. Okay, and most of these crimes are crimes of opportunity. We can't dispute that at all. I just want to, because I don't want. I think, and listen to me. I think we're making excuses for I guess, the treatment of our people. That's all I'm trying to say. I guess what? A lot of people have no one to blame but themselves. There's an opportunity out there. That's true. But when we're seeing that, we have to keep in place and keep in mind that the system was designed, okay, has been and still is designed to ensure that we don't excel past where we are expected to go. It's a rarity. So, when you guys admit, oh yeah, we got to work harder. Okay, that right there says that something's not right. It should be a level playing ground across the field. It should be level across the ground. If it's not a level playing ground, we can't sit there and say that people are making excuses. Now, some people are, not everyone. Okay, there's some people that work their ass off. There's people that get up. When I was growing up, get in their car and drive around the corner and get pulled over. Okay, and next thing you know, they got a ticket for whatever little thing that's wrong with the car. Because once again, police are meeting their quota. They're doing it in the hood. Okay, they're punishing people because there's less pushback. They're making their quotas in the hood, in the urban areas. Okay, they're making their arrests in the hood, in the urban areas, because they're pulling people out that won't be missed. They're pulling their people out, or they're punishing people that don't have the resources to fight back. Okay, they're re-victimizing victims. All right, and when I said victims, I'm talking about victims of their social policies that put them there to begin with. And if we as Black people don't acknowledge that, okay, whether it's through our voting, because voting is important. Local voting, believe it or not, affects your policy, what happens to you nationally, because those local policies affect your voting laws and everything else. How you get to vote, how you get to do everything. It happens at the local level, and it always goes up to the national level. And I think we're forgetting about that. We should never advocate not voting. I think we should always get out there and vote, especially in these local elections, because that's what makes the difference to allow you to be effective when it comes to voting on the national level.
You got to vote in the federal level too, guys. Like, look,
of course.
We talking about crime, right? A lot of these sentences are coming down from federal judges. Those are appointed positions, right? You catch a Fed case, you go down. Or how much are you going down? Are you going down because, hey, we got this old white dude that have always hate Black people and his daddy was racist and he got on the bench and now I'm gonna slap 20 years on you, or versus 5 years on you, right? These things, like, we can talk about, well, you shouldn't have done a crime, but the fact of the matter is we get sentenced at a higher rate and more years for the same crimes. Come on, we can all agree on that, right? We get sentenced for the same crimes as the other guy at a higher rate. That's not making an excuse. That's just
the system.
That's just the reality of the system that we in. And yeah, that system ain't meant for us. I agree with you 1,000% on Los on that. But however, we also can fight to get equity in that system. We can fight to say, hey, you know what? Can you treat us the same at least? So that's my main thing. I'm not asking for a handout. I would just like to be the same.
So Onaje, let me ask you a question. Onaje. And again, this is strictly hypothetical. And matter of fact, yeah, it's just hypothetical. This ain't your life at all, my brother, and I know this, and we all know this. But let's just say your wife cheated on you and treated you like shit for 10 years. How long would you stay in that relationship?
Oh, I'd be out, right?
Okay. So if that's the case, how long are we gonna stay in this relationship and let these people treat us like shit, do whatever they want to do to us, slap us, kill us, lock us up indefinitely, do all this shit? When the law states, the law that's on the books right now state that we can go and get away. I did.
Los, I think we agree on this 1,000%. I don't disagree with you. I'm the first person to tell you Black business, own in our neighborhood, buy back our neighborhood. Y'all hear me talk about this all the time, right? Like, I'm a first one. And matter of fact, I'm actually pro expat. I'm saying, if you really ask me privately, I would tell you we all need to be leaving this country. Let's go back to Africa and go rebuild Africa. Let's use our energy there. However, right, what I'm talking about is for the masses, right? I have the ability to go travel and leave this country, right? 1 year. You probably have the ability to go travel and leave this country, right? But I also don't want to leave my fellow man behind. At least I want to give them a blueprint of what we need to be striving for those people who are not there yet, right? Because it does take capital to start a business. It does take some know-how and some knowledge to start a business. It does take stuff to buy real estate, go travel, all that kind of stuff. So for me, there's not just going to be one thing Lo said earlier, and I hope everybody on this chat really takes the advantage and really believes this. I'm going to be fine regardless of the presidency. Will be fine. I read the tax code. I'm gonna do well under all of them. I've done well under any presidency, Republican or Democrat, because I read and I pay attention. Okay, so that's number one. However, statistically, for the masses, there are clear differences for everyone else. I'm looking out for my sisters. I'm looking out for my brothers. I'm looking out for my cousins. I'm looking out for my homeboys that maybe not have the same opportunity, maybe not have the same education. And I think these two things can be true at the same time. Should we be trying to start our own businesses, do our own things? Absolutely, right? But as you know, Los, everybody can't be in business. That ain't for everybody. Right?
Yeah, they need to come work for people like us, and we can grow us, and they can fucking stop bitching at how they treating them at all these big XYZ corporations, and we can grow our little corporations, the big corporations, and we ain't got to worry about them no more.
Because all big corporations started as
what? Little.
Yeah. No, Los, you're right. Los, I agree with you 100%. But I always agree because it makes sense. But what I'm saying is, while we're saying that, we also have to keep in mind that it's much more difficult for us, okay? And we can't just push that to the side because Byron, let's just say this right here.
That much more difficult is just it triggers me, bro.
Byron, let me just say this right here. Let's look at Asians. The Asian people are considered the model minority.
Bro, okay? Asian people work hard. Have you ever seen the work ethic of the typical? I went to school with these people, JB. These people ain't just sitting around twiddling their thumbs like, bro, they doing the work. You hear me?
But once again, they're more accepted. They were readily more. Guys, look, this is how America is. Okay, there were white Americans, Anglos, whatever, and when the Irish came over here, the Irish were treated like shit. Okay, and until they needed their numbers, and they brought them in, and they said, "Okay, great."
They also were gangsters. They also did a lot of stupid shit too.
I understand that, but they're eventually assimilated. Wait, I'm going somewhere with this. The same thing with the Italians. The Italians came over here, there goes that, and then when they needed the numbers, they assimilated them and they brought them in. Okay, now Hispanics right now. Hispanics are now at the point where they're transitioning to become, quote unquote, white because of the fact that they're always going to try to keep the numbers. The only people that have not been assimilated into American society, okay, and people always look at us and say, you guys been here for so long, but you guys haven't done shit, is Black people. And that's because it was intentionally, okay? The Asians, whether it's the Eastern Asians, wherever it is, everyone gets assimilated except us. Society.
Here's the thing. I gotta stop. Right here.
Hold on. A society needs people to shit on, and because of our color, they shit on us.
I think at the end of the day, that Asians are not coming here looking for white people to put them in position. That's the difference. They put themselves in position, and when you bring in something to the table, you got something to negotiate with. It goes back to what Los was just talking about.
Well, they got shit we don't have. They got group economics.
Yeah, they do a phenomenal job.
That's not apples and oranges. That's apples and oranges.
And they're using the system. See, that's the whole thing that people got.
That's apples and oranges.
Talk about it, Flay.
Talking about the system, Flay.
I was just gonna say that because before you do that, bro, let me cook with you. Like before they come over here, they be looking at the law. Like, hey. They got a program that allows us to do this. All we got to do is fill out this, and this. And that be their whole plan when they get over here. We ain't taking advantage of the program. We ain't taking advantage of the system.
Was that your Asian voice, Los?
No, that's facts though. Overall, man, that's exactly it, right? It's just utilizing the system. So what I'm hearing across the board is keep saying they, them. Them is this, and they doing this, and them doing this, and that. God damn it, sometimes we got to be the they and the them. You know what I mean? We got to be the they and the them. That's what it's got to boil down about. And so instead of you keep saying they this and they that, God damn it, I'm sorry to tell you, I'm part of they now. So I'm the day people now. See, that's what the thing that what Los was just always talking about is understanding the law, reading the law, and make the law work for you, not you working against the law. You're going to always be against the background. See, these are the things that we must understand and we must include into any part of the conversation. Number one, this country was built on white men. Stop playing around. Let's not exclude the game. Let's say the game like it is. It was built on white men. Them forefathers that sat down in Philly when they was at the Bill and they was doing all that Declaration of Independence and all that kind of stuff, they were white men. At that time, the woman's voice was not heard. Not the white woman voice, not the black woman voice. No woman voice was heard. During that same time, the black man voice, damn sure, black man at that time was considered called property. Did y'all know that? Did people know that? That the black man was considered property at that time. When these Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, and all of this stuff that was flowing around at the time, that's what it was. So the Asian person the Asian person wasn't thought of at that time, right? When it comes to the Hispanics, they wasn't thought of at that time. What we got to also understand is that when we come across these different criterias, right? What we got to be, like I was telling people before, I was like, listen, the fight ain't nothing else but the being able to say, hey, we change everything else in this country. Y'all know we able to change everything else. AI is changing this, that, and everything changes in this country except for what this country was built on. And this country was built on white men. So instead of us trying to fight for this and fight for that until we get that change, we would always have problems. It's not like we're getting ready. I can see change coming. There is no change coming until that part of the equation gets changed. When you start including people of our color, of our race, of different races and ethnicities, regardless of sexual orientation, any of that type of stuff, the same thing that, what was it, 15 USC 1691, you can go look it up. It's the ECOA, Equal Credit Opportunity Act. So when you start thinking about you can't discriminate because a person's black, a person's handicapped, because a person's this, but when you made these laws and these rules amongst the country and the Bill of Rights, none of those people were included in this. None of those people were included in this. So that's what I'm saying from that part of the aspect. Those are the things that's got to change. It's got to change at the back. So when you guys are talking about voting and all that kind of stuff, I wholeheartedly agree with you, right? But you also got options and you got to understand the rules of the law of the land, right? And you got to make those rules of the law of the land work for you, not against you. You get what I'm saying?
You got to play the game. Ooh.
And one thing I want to just point out, guys, there's only two groups of people that America got all kind of races in it. Real talk, right? There's only two groups of people who did not choose to be a part of the American system. Native Americans, and they extinct now, pretty much, in us. We didn't choose to be here. So for me, I have a problem when we want to quote unquote equate ourselves or compare ourselves with groups of people that have come over here and immigrated over here. We didn't choose to be here, right? That changes the game of your psyche. When you get up, and I have a lot of respect for immigrants, right? To pick up your bags and relocate to a country takes a lot of gumption. It takes a lot of stuff, right? It takes a lot of inner workings of power, of fortitude, perseverance, all that kind of stuff. I have a lot of respect for that, right? But we didn't choose to be here. We didn't choose to be a part of this system. We were forced to be a part of this system. And again, a lot of times we devalue that whole history, right? And that stuff is important. Right. But at the end of the day, look, guys, for me, I'm all about solutions. I'm all about pushing forward. And I just think it's important for us to hit every angle we have to hit. Right. Somebody might be on the entrepreneur angle. Let's bring our people up so we can start more businesses. But some people just going to be worker bees. Right. And how do we make sure that they are in the proper position themselves? How do we make sure that they get their fair share of government contracts? How do we make sure that they actually go into some of these white, and again, am I a fan of going into some of these white businesses and being executives and all that? Like, do I wish we had our own companies? Yeah, but I ain't gonna front. That's how a lot of us actually learn information to come back and teach the people. Right, we go into these organizations, we go into these companies, we go work in Congress, we go work in DC. We have to make sure. Look, you know, my background, my family was in the civil rights era. Right, we had a couple Black Panthers and aunts and uncles or whatever, and so I have a big deep history of this whole era. There's a lot of ways to skin a cat. Right, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. I grew up more on the Malcolm X side than the Martin Luther King side, but I can't disagree and say he was wrong about some stuff. You see what I'm saying? We have to make sure that we hit all these angles, right? Just because it may not be your forte, we need somebody, right? We need somebody in the executive board of whatever company that we need. Those people that are trailblazing, right? So that's my main thing. We got to hit a lot of different angles, and the issue is we can't forget to come back and teach the people what we learned along the way.
I think everything you said is good stuff. But I can't help but to go back to where Los was talking about, and when it came down to, you know, at the end of the day, he got founder of Smoothie RX, under his badge, right?
Mm.
And what's so powerful about that is whether it's a major corporation, small corporation, whatever it may be,
they all start off the same.
Yeah, bro. It's the beginning of something that was created by us for us. And I think, I do believe that we got to play the game, right? But if you're going to play the game, you need to just accept the game rules for what they are and figure out your way to dominate in the confines of those rules. If you're going to create your own, right? You just got to know that you're going to have to, fight to build up your own. It's not going to be easy. But you get that opportunity to at least fight the fight. And I think us kind of, allowing ourselves to succumb to the narrative of that we're less than, right? I don't know how that benefits us moving forward. I really don't. We've been doing that since the 60s. In my opinion, I don't think it was helpful. And just my opinion. I think at the end of the day, man, if you're gonna compete. And I think people respect your level of competition when you come in. You're not making no excuses. You put it all on the line, right? And you go, balls to the walls and make sure that you put up the victories that you trying to put up. Period. And I think. My question is, how do we get to that mindset, right? How do we adopt that mindset over the diversity, the DEI mindset, where we're forcing people by shaming them into giving us opportunities to a certain degree?
If we're running 100-yard dash and you're starting 30 feet behind me, how much faster do you got to run to beat me in that 100-yard dash?
It depends. How fast is a lot of the Asians that come over here and run these Fortune 500 companies do it? How fast do they do it?
I'm gonna say this real quick. And I know it's kind of it's a serious moment. It's a silly moment for me. Have y'all seen the documentary The Donut King?
We can't see you, man. Put that camera on.
Yeah, we can't see you.
Oh, hold on. I thought it was on. Is it on now?
It's all good. The Donut King.
All right, so The Donut King is a documentary about a Cambodian refugee, right? That came over in the 70s and started that famous donut shop I think it's in LA. And at that time, Cambodia was going through a war. I forget what exactly that war was, but he came over here and he started working for this white man in a donut shop just to, make some money or whatever, just to make ends meet. He learned, and then he started his own donut shop. It's a donut shop, that big old brown donut in LA that he still got to this day. Now, during that time in the U.S. went over there. Trust me, I don't have all the facts about the presidential or whatever, but they went over there and it was helping Cambodian refugees come over here to the United States, and it was giving out incentives for Americans who housed them, right? And then they came over here. This man took in people who wanted to work, showed them how to run a donut shop, and then they started their own donut shops. And they started an entrepreneurs base going and going and going. So now they had a place to come to that they knew that they can find work and make their own living. And now that whole donut chain ran California for a long time. And it was a lot of Cambodians that ran that. And my point to say that, if y'all ever get a chance, please watch that, because it'll inspire you and it'll piss you off at the same time. My point to say that is that us as a people and as a culture, I think a lot of our pride and ego gets in the way of doing like the ends meet work, and it gets blinded of the end result. You know what I mean? So if I'm in Chicago and I know Lowe's got Smoothie RX and he's the founder, and I need to start somewhere, I'm gonna go to Lowe's. Hey brother, listen, I don't have much. I just need to find work, and Lowe's gives me an opportunity, and then Lowe's is like, shit, we can franchise this, and we can go on, and now you can run your own smoothie place and continue on the legacy. But I think a lot of our people, they don't want to become the plumber because a lot of their ego and pride is in the way, because it looks like a low-end job, right? And it prevents them from the thought of having their own empire or running their own business later on down the future, if I'm making sense.
Yes, that's beautiful. I know, Christy, Chad, you live here in Houston, right? And maybe it's just, because I'm here in Houston, I see a lot of black business here, right? If on some real shit, if I just wanted to go to restaurants that were all black here in Houston for the rest of the year, I could pull that off successfully. Am I capping, Anaje? Am I capping, chat?
Not at all. You're right.
You're 100% right.
And
with vegan options, might I add?
Absolutely. And so because I see it, right? I'm not seeing the complaints. I'm seeing the action. I'm seeing us really building. Like I'm seeing this. I know that this is a real thing. My issue is why are we adopting the we can't attitude or we can't mentality? We obviously doing.
Are you seeing the benefits that we get
OJ, hold on one quick.
Level though, that's the issue, right? So I'm from Houston, right? And I see the Houston is also hustle town. I equate our black people and our business above anybody else, frankly, right? I'm very proud of the black people and how we run businesses here. But I'm also acknowledge, right? We also had 8 years with a black mayor. We also have over-index on city council. We have a lot of black judges. We have a lot of black people that are educated in key components across the city that put us on, right? And I'm going to celebrate them. I'm going to be, we talked about this yesterday about certain black people in certain positions helping us in real estate and things of that nature. There's a lot of unsung black heroes, right? And so when we don't give those people credit for the trailblazing that they're doing in the DEI, right? Because when there's a first black elected official in a certain area or a first black appointee, those people putting us on, right? And that's part of DEI, right? That may not be your version of it, right? But that was their version of it, right? They got into a specific position because of whatever reason. They worked their ass off, got there, whatever, somebody put them on, and they putting other people on. And so as much as I love the culture of Houston, and yeah, we do have a cultural difference. I do think the black culture in Houston is different than other cultures across America. We do have a more hustle mentality, right? We do get out here and get it, but we also have infrastructure built in this city to help us along the way, right? We over-index. Black people get more. We over-index in this city compared to our population. That's a fact.
Well, I think a lot of times the thing about is being able to have is one component that we talk about other races and with ourselves, and that's the collaboration point. Like until people understand about how collaboration really brings out the best of people, we're so busy always trying to get to that 100%. Like I own 100% of this, I own 100% of that. Until we realize that, hey man, you got 100%, but you made 200,000, as opposed to saying, hey, I can make 50%, but we just made $1 million this year, right? And those type of components and those things change the attributes of what actually happens, because now you understand about the realization of how you can collab with other people. And I think that's a missing component when it comes to our people, is learning how we can work with somebody else, right? Bringing other people into the equation, like just like how we got a platform right here with No Stingy Energy, right? This is his own. This is O'Neal, and this is Byron. This is y'all network of individuals, right? So now what you're saying from that is saying, hey, my network of individuals have now met Los's individuals, right? Los's individuals have now met Darby's individuals, and what happens is your networks continue to grow, and when your networks continue to grow, then at that point in sections, now you start to collab, and now everything else come from that infrastructure kind of builds out from the internal side of it, right? And those are the only things that could build, because now what we also understanding is they're saying, hey, when we can come together, that's the one thing that all stopped us is coming together, because everybody wants to be their own person, and until we understand how to do that, we always going to be lackluster in certain areas, if it makes sense.
You got to move that pride.
I think Malachi wanted to jump in real quick.
You got to come out.
I got to get Malachi in on.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Malachi in chat.
Yeah, I just came up to yell at Byron real quick. You talking some nonsense.
Let's talk about it.
So what you talking about doing? Like, you keep pointing to Asians and these other immigrants and saying, why don't you see us doing what you see them doing?
We are doing that.
We've been that. We've done that already. We've done that historically in the past. The only difference is once we build our shit up without looking for handouts and things like that and being self-sufficient, the government and the country always destroys the shit. You build
Yeah,
the
about
third
100
ward.
years ago, though, Malachi.
Not
We-
that that's still
that was about 100 years ago, and
yeah,
I
that's
get
still
it.
continually going on. But the point
It's
is,
not. It's
what I'm
actually
saying,
not.
no, what I'm saying is when we look at these, what you keep referring to is like model minorities and things like that. If I go to Asia, if I go to China, if I go to all the other places where these people, these immigrants are coming from, I see the same lazy motherfuckers there that I see here in the country that don't have the initiative to get up off their ass and immigrate and go do something else. It's no different. The people you see coming over here, like OJ mentioned before, it take a whole lot of gumption and ambition to move, relocate your whole family. That's a hell of a hustler mindset in those first generation of kids that you see them putting on that way. They typically have that mindset as well. I see it the same. You see Jamaicans that come over, do the same thing. People from Colombia, people from Africa, everybody, Nigerians that come over, you see them with the same mindset, same type of mentality in that typical first, second generation. Then later on, stuff starts to trail off when people get complacent, like you see with the average person in this country. Go to any other country, Los, you do all this traveling. Everywhere you go, you see bums, people selling you stuff on the street. They ain't got no drive. They ain't got. Am I lying? I mean, the same type of poverty, non-hustle mindset that we talking about that we see here with us is just the norm of being average that you're going to see anywhere else. The people that you see immigrating and coming over here, they're not average. Just like the people that I'm talking to and listening to on this stage are not average. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I'm glad you highlighted that.
That's a fact.
That's a great point.
That's a big one.
I want to hop in there real quick. Well, the thing about Houston and what makes us great, right, is our hustlers mentality, but also we work together. We collaborate. We put this person on. Oh, do you know such and such? Okay, well, let's have lunch. I literally have, happy hours and brunches with women, only women. And if they don't know each other, but I know that they need each other across industries, right? Because I'm in different spaces here in Houston, right? And in the country. But I bring people like education, mental health, right? I bring people in the nonprofit space and government officials. Like we do a great job of that, right? One thing I've learned in being the executive director of a nonprofit organization, we actually do business incubator programs for Black entrepreneurs and funding, right? And it's out of Louisville. The wealth gap in Louisville, or I'm sorry, 2% of the businesses in Louisville are Black owned, only 2%, right? And what we're seeing, and that's why I say Houston, we are so blessed because I've seen what the other side look like. So I kind of disagree with you, Malachi. I don't know where you live, but it's even different across the country in different states, right? And part of the problem with that is we have these businesses, people are starting businesses, but they're starting multiple businesses. What we found in the incubator program is people don't even have, their domain name registered, right? Like you can't, put on your business card stinkbutt@gmail.com and that's the name of your business. Like the fundamentals we have to get right? That to me helps level the playing field. We don't necessarily have to go to other people to get that. Right? Like we can literally go to each other and have someone mentor you, right? Business related. The other part about that is that when I lived in Korea. In living there, right, I did see a little bit, right? I saw a little bit of homelessness, right? But what they do is they require public service, right? And that is an appreciation. I think that forms an appreciation for the country you live in. I think if we keep talking about what America doesn't give us, what we don't get, then we miss those opportunities to take advantage of the things that work for us. And so we keep harping on, well, we need DEI and we need this. Okay, well, that's great, right? But then what are we going to do when we get the opportunity? What are we going to do when we build the business and you've tapped out all your friends and family for support? Now you got to actually market on social media. Now you got to start making profit, right? And so people just think that barrier of starting a business is it. But there's so much more to build and to scale it. And I think if we, build more community in other states with each other, I think like if we could mirror Houston does a lot of things right. Even our approach to the homeless population here in Houston, right? Like literally other cities, even New York City, our crisis intervention team went there to train them. and in LA, right? So Houston just has a lot that we do, right? I think we can emulate a lot of that across the country.
I think that, and I agree with that, Chad, honestly. But if we don't, if the people don't change their mindset, if the people don't get no skills, if the people don't learn what to do, then we're going to always have the same issue. It's going to perpetuate itself over and over and over and over and over again. I think that, I've been real consistent with what I've been teaching in my Clubhouse room for its entire existence. A lot of that stuff that you just said out your mouth, Chad, about, the foundation of a business and the email addresses and all of that stuff. I've been teaching that since I've been on the app. All the stuff that I talked about today, literally everything that I talked about today, I teach this shit for free every Friday. So I try to bring the people with me. So I don't come from a position, hey, I'm the founder of Smoothie RX. And you can add another one to that too, man. Around the World Coffee, man, made me I want to pull up to my grand opening. But I show people how to open their own business. It's not a nanny. It's not a me shitting on nobody or looking down on them because I'm in this position. Look, I'm trying to bring everybody up. I get everybody the information. Man, people come to my room and they got millions of dollars in business credit and personal credit. Can't nobody say that on this app. Well, on that app, rather. Nobody. On no app, actually. No app. You can show me any of them business credit people. Ain't nobody got people millions of dollars. I did. And it's because it's no fun. It's lonely at the top. I got all the credit. And the bank's going to continue to give credit. They ain't going to stop giving credit just because I got some. So I teach people how to get all of that. This law stuff that I talk about, I teach this. I tell y'all, I show y'all in the law. Hey, Byron, I text you something. Take a look at that. But like
right now,
everything that I talk about, this shit is facts. This shit, I'm emotional about the shit because I love our people and where we at as a people. It ain't right, and it's because we ain't right in these books. We not using the information that's out here for us to win with, and we allowing these emotional roller coasters to take us everywhere else but to the top. We gotta learn these basics. We gotta learn the law. We gotta learn who we are. And if you don't know who you are, they taking advantage of that. Y'all might want to take a look. Y'all might want to Google a form, SF 181. Y'all might want to take a look at that form. But we got to do better as a people. It start with the education. It start with the know-how. You can't take action on some shit you don't know how to do. So we got to learn from people who do this shit.
Thanks.
And for those of us that's in position, if we not helping, if we not teaching, then we help perpetuate the problem.
Wow.
Man, this had to have a part 2, how to build Black America.
Listen, I want to know, before we head out, because this has been so many different points that we've brought out. Let me switch this. I'm looking at Los's screen right now. But I would say this. Can y'all give, if we could just do it in like 30 seconds, right? 30 seconds a piece from all the brilliant minds that we've heard from today, whether you on the right or the left or the middle or the apathetic, don't matter. What would you say are some of the things that we need to be looking out for specifically from a business perspective to make sure that we are successful regardless of who is in office? And if we could pass this around in like 30 seconds, that'd be great because we definitely over time already. So I would love to get y'all perspective on that as we close out.
Brand awareness, making sure that people know who you are, no matter who's in office. If people know who you are and what you do, be the loudest, go out there and make sure people know who you are. That's how you're going to succeed in service levels. Just making sure, like, once again, just making sure people understand that, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do, and you offer great service because that's going to be the lifeblood of your business. It's referrals, and it's going to come off of service levels. So brand awareness and the way you treat the people that you interact with and your consumers.
All right, let's go with chat.
So first of all, thank you, O'Neal and Byron, for allowing me to speak on your stage. I'm in the nonprofit space, so I will say knowing data, knowing your competitors, right? Doing competitive analysis, but utilizing data to maximize your efficacy, right? Like there's a thing called a philanthropic gap, and a lot, of Black organizations, your Black nonprofits don't get a lot of funding. DEI is actually hurting a lot of nonprofit organizations, right? And so we have to tell the picture through data, right? So that wealth gap, that philanthropic gap, the wealth gap being 2% in Louisville, right? It's higher here, 7% in Jacksonville. So knowing your data tells the story, right? And it brings people in to your product, to your brand. But it also can increase your profit. And it also can put you in different spaces, networking wise, right? So getting your data, analyzing it, and making it work for you, I think is key. Thank you.
Love it, I love it. We're done.
Yes, sir. All right, let's keep it brief. Become expert in your area. Whatever your field is, put in your 10,000 hours. Next, make sure you take care of the paperwork. You got to follow the rules, learn the game, take care of the paperwork. 3, 5-star customer service. Listen, that is so important. When you take care of the customer will take care of you, and they will spread your name far and wide. Lastly, teach somebody else. That's my 2 cents.
Appreciate you. Got Los.
I think I'm just gonna dive into that same sentiment that chat said. I think that if you're already in business, you need to rely on the data. Things are changing, and if you can't see where things are changing, where things are trending towards, then you're gonna be behind. So I think that if sales are down, you need to be looking at the data and trying to understand why things are down. You need to be looking at what things are selling, and it just depends on the business. But I think if you keep your foot or your hand on the pulse and what's going on in the trend, what's going on locally, I think that you will be all right. I mean, again, I think that certain businesses, be in trouble regardless of like, who's in office. But certain businesses don't matter regardless of who's in office. Is going to take off. So I think that if you like Chat said, if you stay on the data and the KPIs and all that stuff that y'all go over, Byron, I think that you can withstand any presidency with good product and services.
I appreciate that, Los. We got Flame next.
Man, first off, thank you guys for having me on the show. Make sure I say that across the board. I think this is learning your networking, right? Because sometimes people get caught up in where they're from. They get caught up about what organization that they're part of, which political party that they're part of. Listen, you got to be able to you got to get exposure. So you got to get out of your area, out of your little cocoon that you might be in. You got to get up out of that, right? And you got to be able to network with other people doing other things. Maybe go to your local library and find out what type of workshops that they have there. Maybe you look up on Eventbrite and see some things that they may have on or locally that's in that area. Or look in your, go old school, look in a newspaper. Maybe just socially look down your timeline on your social media. Because when you start to understand about how you can get out of your area and meet other people, that's how I met everybody that's on the stage. I met them because we all met at a certain place, right? Right. So when you could get up out of that area of yours, that little small cocoon of yours, right, and start to say, hey, you know what? Let me get the hell up out of Detroit. Let me move up. Let me get up out of. Let me go to this conference that's in Dallas or something like that. When you get up out of that, then you get this chance to grow your network, and when you grow your network, then that starts a relationship. And once you start your relationship with people, right, then and only then you can learn how to collaborate with other people, and that's how you get the other information that you can get from anybody that's on this stage, because it exposes you to more people. So that's what I want to leave the people.
Love it, man. Before we go to the next person, how about we get the likes up, man? The likes a little low, man. They're a little low. Let's get the likes up,
Stingy on the likes.
Yeah, let's go with Darby, man. What's your final thoughts?
I would say, first and foremost, y'all always put on a good show. Y'all bring on great topics as per usual. And, you know, I've rocked with y'all since Clubhouse, a long time. I'll say to the person who's starting a business, always be a student. You know, don't become prideful in what your product or service is. Always be a student. Stewardship over your finances. Make sure the numbers match. Make sure the numbers right. Always look at your P&L. Always working in tune with your business. And lastly, systems and processes. Systems and processes. If the paperwork makes the paperwork. Everything that falls in order will fall in line. And that'll make you a substantial amount of profit. So I think that's all I got.
Love it. We got Malachi.
Yeah, just know the law and know what the government's incentivized and what they need help with, and align your business to help fill those needs and make money.
I love it, man. We had a lot of amazing voices today. I hope y'all getting a lot of value shared. It was a good conversation, man. From Trump to Biden to crime to the Asians, to black folks, to taxes, to all kind of shit, man. It was a good conversation, man. I think we got to run it back, Byron. What you think?
We definitely got to run it back because, listen, as we get closer and closer to the election, it's going to be a lot of misinformation spread. You know, and I feel like we got to stay on our pivot. We got to know what's going on. I think the next time when we have this discussion, we need to be talking about some of the things that's going on, some of the lies that's being told, some of the misinformation that's being spread, so we can make sure that we kind of accurately deciphering what's going to be the best option for us.
I would say we also need to speak on how can we take advantage of what's going on too.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of complaining about it, how can we make money off it? How can we provide for our families? How can we create new businesses on what's going on too? Because that's, you know, we can talk about the dumb shit all day. We need to talk about how we can make some more money. How we can profit more, you know? And man, with that being said, make sure y'all like the video, share it. If y'all want to join the family, got 3 different levels. They got next to the subscribe button. After you subscribe, you hit the like button. You can join. They got 3 different levels. They got legacy, visionary, and trailblazer. Make sure you pick one, and we'd love to have you part of the family. With that being said, we out, man. Y'all have a good afternoon. I mean, good day, good afternoon. Go make some money. We out here. Peace. We'll be back Thursday, 6:30 a.m.
What's up, y'all? So most people struggle with sales. A lot of us in real estate, and we struggle with our sales. We struggle with follow-up. We struggle with leads. And we just basically missing out on deals. For me, I just got on Taskify CRM. They send messages out for you. And look, a lot of us have work. When you get off of work, you have hot leads ready for you. Make sure you check out Taskify CRM. I'm telling you, it automatically replies for you. And look, it sends you multiple messages. Like we talking about drip campaigns, so you're not missing up on the lead follow-up. So make sure you check out Taskify CRM. Use coupon code NOSTINGYENERGY to get 10% off. I'm about to show y'all inside my CRM so I can see how it really works. Make sure y'all check it out. Peace.